right, I'm getting ready to start right at 2:30. Hold on. All right, so going through this massive list on a Saturday, over about the next, I don't know, hour or so of like the 65 side hustles that you can start during this quarantine. All right, and so we're gonna start with number one. And so we have a long list, and the list is on my blog. It's also on the Black Tech Week site. But I wanted to go through this and answer any questions that people may have about launching a side hustle. Okay, so all right, and so the first one is a virtual planner, right? And so we're in these crazy COVID streets. I don't need to explain that. We know that. Wear your mask. We're under pandemic. Things are opening and then closing every single day. And we started this course, I don't know, I think 3 months ago now, when COVID first hit, as a way for people to just be able to put their own oxygen mask on, create their own PPP, right? Paycheck protection program. And if you're thinking through your side hustle, if you are have an idea that you've been trying to figure out, if you are trying to come up with an idea as well, this session is for you. And then I'm going to go through about 65 ideas, right? And so some of them are very practical, some of them are a little crazy and wonky, but they're also working as side hustles. And there's some new things that I think have come up that were not side hustles before COVID started. And so this will be recorded. So if you need to jump in and jump out, you can come back at any time and be able to finish this training. And so we're starting with number one, and then I have my notes in front of me, y'all. And so just so I can make sure I can also give you the resources of where you can find like more opportunities. But I think one of the coolest things that I don't think existed prior to COVID that exists now, like people are still getting married, right? And so people are still getting married under the quarantine, and you can help organize a virtual engagement party via Zoom, send out invites, organize the gift registry, help like book the wedding efficient, and more, right? And if you love planning weddings and you're trying to figure out like, oh my God, I was a wedding planner, I was thinking about being a wedding planner and the world shut down, how can I still keep this going? The organization side, the back end side of planning these things, people still need help with. The tech, if you're a bit tech savvy and you can orchestrate all of this, still send out really unique gifts and invitations, there's still a lane for you in this, right? And so the virtual wedding planner is number one. I've seen some friends get married virtually as well, that I think has been really, really cool. Virtual funeral planning on the other spectrum of that is also something that I've seen like more and more people having to do because of social distancing, not being able to travel, but still wanting to be able to pay respects. And so one, being able to celebrate people, and then two, being able to also celebrate them kind of passing on, right? Even with my great grandmother just passing this week, that is something that I had a conversation with a family member of mine. It's just like, hey, can we do that virtually, and all the planning that kind of comes along with making sure people show up and all that stuff. And so what virtual wedding planner is number one on that list. The number two, and I think it's something that Airbnb has been doing a good job at, or pseudo good job at doing and promoting this, but they launched something called Airbnb like experiences. I don't know, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago. You guys can let me know in the comments. But when COVID hit, they decided to launch Airbnb online experiences. And so if you have something to teach, if you're passionate about something, if you want to story tell, like this is a way that you can also create a side hustle teaching your thing. I've seen everything under the sun, right? And from like we have here on this website, a class teaching you how to make Swedish pastries with a professional baker, to a sangria and secrets with a drag queen show, and they're charging $20 per person. And art classes, pottery classes. I've seen virtual tour guides for those that are like, you know, missing traveling so much and want to still be able to have a cool experience. People are doing virtual tour guides. I've seen a guy on his bike, just like riding his bike up and down like streets so people can see what it's like or feel what it's like to be in Paris. These things have also, I think, been really cool kind of date nights. And then also, the virtual company retreat and like all of that stuff, being able to kind of break it up, having some sort of entertainment. And so if you have an idea, right, and you are thinking like, hey, can I monetize my side hustle? Can I broadcast myself globally and be able to reach out to people that can learn from me, or I can share my story or whatever, then I think this is a really cool side hustle to explore as well. And so check out Airbnb experience, airbnb.com/d/online hosts is the actual website for you to go to. But I personally, when I've traveled, when outside was open, I did a bunch of Airbnb like experiences, right? And I had a blast. Great way to learn about things locally. And then recently, I signed up for to take a wine class, a wine tasting class by a sommelier this Black woman sommelier that I thought was just absolutely dope. And so just know that this is a way for you to be able to teach and then have a marketplace where people can find you and are looking for them. All right, number 3 on this list. And guys, if you're just joining, I am doing a session on 65 plus side hustle ideas that you can launch this weekend during this crazy ass pandemic and quarantine and all of that stuff that we're under. So one, if you're just kind of trying to come up with an idea of what it can be. 2, maybe you already have an idea, but are trying to figure out how to do that virtually. This is a great session for you as well. And then you may not have an idea at all, and this may spark something in you or spark a pivot. At minimum, we created this just to help people put their own oxygen mask on and kind of just be thinking through like, hey, can I do this side hustle to make some more money? Can I do this side hustle to put more money into my savings account because we have no idea what's going to happen? This is that session, right? And so, all right, number 3, I think is pretty self-explanatory, right? And so consulting and coaching. If you've recently been laid off, if you've recently like lost your job, you've been furloughed, but you have just an epic amount of experience, you can use that, right? Like that experience did not go away just because we're under a quarantine, or depending where you're joining me, a semi-quarantine or whatever. That experience didn't go away. And those problems that you were solving back then, you can still solve. And maybe, yeah, because you've been laid off or furloughed or whatever, you can't solve that for the company that you were working for. But if that problem existed for the company and the clients that you were serving when you were working in that company, it's still a problem that needs to be solved today, right? And by other companies. And I think COVID in a lot of ways have exacerbated problems like ever before. And so can you solve those problems? Can you consult companies or individuals? Can you coach companies or individuals through some sort of transformation, right? Or helping them solve a problem, get from point A to point B, or from point D to point F, like whatever you need to. That's also something to be thinking about with consulting. And so there are all these different websites for you to, pitch yourself, find a marketplace so people can find you. Clarity, clarity.fm is a site that I recommend. People can actually book you by the minute. I've seen people, go on those websites and charge upwards of like $60 to $80 per minute, not per hour, per minute. And then there's all these other websites that you can do so as well. And so clarity.fm is one of those things that you can use to promote your consulting services and reach potential clients. And so, all right, guys, next up, a virtual music tutor. And so again, outside is closed, but if you have a passion for music, if you know how to sing, if you can teach someone how to play an instrument. I know myself as a parent, my daughter loves to sing. She loves to entertain. She wants a TikTok. She wants a YouTube channel. She's 6. And I have been racking my brain trying to find someone that can jump on Zoom and just let her have fun with music. And, you think about advertising this through your social media, or to schools and preschools and summer camps that are now going virtual, and they're looking for different modules and people to come in. That could be a really good side hustle for you. I think at minimum, reaching out to parent groups on social media, and the parent groups share information like crazy, right? And so they're always looking for resources. They're always looking for someone that is trustworthy, that is good, that can hold the attention. And I'm talking about kids, but adults want music lessons too, and so think about that. A virtual music tutor is number 4 on this list. And so, all right, number 5, set up an IG, like Instagram restaurant or slash trap kitchen. You know, the interesting thing about number 5 is like, this isn't brand new, right? And so it's also not brand new to like our community. And a lot of people before COVID were like creating, you know, spiked ices, or they were creating, you know, crazy kind of drinks or food or whatever, and people would see it and just buy directly on Instagram. A lot of it was called like, most of them were called like trap kitchens, right? And so now all of a sudden, once COVID hit, it became super popular as the go-to way of being able to try food that was like the normal stuff that you constantly see on Uber Eats and Postmates and all of the stuff over and over and over again. But then they kind of like, you know, people started valuing and trusting it more. The barrier to entry was much lower. And so if you throw down at home and you have been thinking about like, hey, how can I start a restaurant or you know, a private catering business or anything like that, setting up an IG slash trap kitchen, restaurant trap kitchen could be your thing, and being able to get people to know about you, start buying your product. My brother and sister-in-law recently did this, and they are killing it in the game. I email her or message her on Facebook every single day. Every time she posts something, I'm like, can you please ship me something? Because your food looks amazing, your desserts look amazing. And so it's a very low barrier to entry in a way that people can start buying your product, right? And so number 5, set up an IG trap kitchen or IG restaurant. Even the guys, even the big boys, right? And I think that's the other thing that has been interesting in COVID, and are like the big boys are having to now do things that up and coming restaurants or people still in the idea phase that are testing things out have been doing, right? Because of a lack of funding, a lack of resources, a lack of personal like motivation, fear, scared to step out on faith, like whatever it is, like they are now doing that, right? Restaurants that said that they weren't ever going to deliver because people need to come in and like feel the essence of like whatever the experience they're creating are now solely relying on delivery, right? Those that didn't really care for Instagram or social media and their following because they were Michelin, whatever, are now doing that, right? They're creating drinks and all this stuff. And so don't ever sleep on your ideas. Don't ever think that even if you're starting small, that it's like hood or ghetto or rudimentary. It's none of that. All the big boys are now taking lessons from you. And so why not kind of step out there? Anyways, all right, next up, number 6, audio and video transcribers. And so 65 side hustles that you can start this weekend to put your own paycheck protection plan, oxygen mask on during these crazy COVID times. Audio and video transcribers. And so people are creating content like ever before. They are trying to extract as much utility out of that content as ever before. And why not be able to, sorry guys, why not be able to use your resources, your skill set? You are a good listener. If you can just like, you have the computer, you have whatever the equipment, minimal equipment that is required to be able to do that. But a lot of people that are creating content need someone that can transcribe it so that they can put the captions at the bottom. They need it to, you know, go from audio to be able to do a blog post. You think Gary Vaynerchuk talks about that all the time. He does it once, and then they create all this content through it, right? Like somebody needs to sit there and do that, whether it's audio for podcasters, right? Wanting to then have the show notes, and some of our favorite podcasts talk about show notes, right? And like having that, then that's a possibility for you to be able to turn that into a side hustle. And so I think reaching out to clients around that is not as crazy as it may think or it may seem, right? And so look at podcasts that are published on an ongoing basis that don't have show notes, and pitch to them like, hey, I can do your show notes for you, and this is my quick turnaround. You look at like really popular like social media influencers or YouTubers. Can I transcribe this for you? You go on company websites that may not be ADA compliant with the content that they're creating on their websites, and pitch to them like, hey, I can transcribe your videos so that it's in compliance. And this is what my fee is going to be. I think finding the people that aren't doing this, that are content creators, that you could just make it very turnkey for them, is something that I think is a great way if you're considering doing number 6, which is audio and video transcribers. All right, guys. And so number 7, set up live streaming and virtual meetings and hosting. Hold on, let me see. I got some comments here. Yeah, and so if you want access to the PDF of this, we have like the full workbook, guys. If you go to blacktechweek.com and just click on the main image that's at the top that talks about the Side Hustle Academy course, it's free. If you log into that, it gives you your Teachable access, and then you can download the PDF, no problem. You can go through the modules if you want to as well, but that's how you get access to this full PDF. And then if you're going to miss any of this, then you can come back to my page and then also be able to view this as well. All right, so number 7, guys, is set up. Again, we're going, if you're just joining me, we're going through the 65 ways and 65 side hustles that you can start this weekend to put your own PPP, your own paycheck protection plan in place. And so number 7 is set up live streaming and virtual meetings and hosting for people. I think this part as a side hustle, people oftentimes kind of dismiss, because like, who can't like set up their own Zoom? A lot of people can't, and a lot of people don't want to. They don't want to manage it. They want someone to host it, right? So the same way we have MCs and hosts for physical outside events, are the same way people want a much richer quality experience for their virtual meetings or their live streams. You know, there's so many things that you can do to support people along that. You can create a course, you can do the actual setup for them, you can do the hosting, you can do the introduction, and this is something that you can charge for. And again, because you're at home, these are things that you can do multiple of these a day. And so I think it's a really interesting idea. It's one of those things where you don't overthink it, but realize that just because it may be easy to you, that doesn't mean that it's, that doesn't mean that's easy to other people. And you'd be surprised what people are willing to pay for just to have ease and make sure things go really well. And then also a lot of people just are afraid of the technology of using it, right? And so that is something to think about as well as the service that you can be able to provide. If this is something that like just you don't even have to think about doing, it just comes so natural and easy to you. All right, number 8, y'all. So number 8 is create an online course. And so Side Hustle Academy is an online course that we created a few months ago. There are all these course platforms, whether it's Kajabi, which I've used and I love, Teachable, which is another great one that we use and I love. I've used Udemy at one point in time. And so they make it very easy for you to take your IP, your intellectual property, your way of doing things, things that you have had results in, things that you know how to teach, and be able to then house it on these platforms, create some content, and then be able to monetize that, right? And so if you have a skill set, just like we were talking about number 2, which was using Airbnb online experiences to teach things, have an engagement, meetups, platforms, masterclasses, like all of these things you can do with online courses as well. And so I'll go over some of the resources, and there are a ton of platforms in which you guys can do this. And so Kajabi, kajabi.com, teachable.com, Teachery, I think is the other one, Udemy, udemy.com are some of the platforms that I've used. So that's what I'm recommending, but there are so many out there. And then you also don't even have to use a platform if you don't want to, right? It could be a private Facebook group in which you teach your course. It could be, you record everything and it's a Google Docs or Google file link that you send them and people have access to it. It can be housed on your own page. It could be an easy download of a PDF or a video or a zip file or whatever, and has everything from your Shopify website. Like you have so many different possibilities that you can do in order to teach courses. I teach a bunch of courses online. A lot of them are evergreen, which means I've created them once. I don't ever have to touch them again, and people can just like pay for them and use them and go about creating like their thing at any given time. And so I'm a big fan of number 8. I use it and I've recommended a bunch of platforms that I've used in order to make that happen for you guys. All right, so number 9, kind of going back with like what number 7, number 9 is if you're specifically wanting to target an area that I think could always use, I think some churches have had this figured out and some other churches have not, right? And so churches and being able to set up their live streaming, their virtual meetings, or their hosting. And I think if you look, not just churches, but like there are specific groups and industries that have had to figure this out, and still trying to figure this out, because I think some people think like, okay, we've been doing this for 3 months, like people have been able to figure out live streaming. A lot have not. A lot have been hesitant. A lot, are some people are in cities or countries where it didn't completely shut down, and maybe it's now their area is now starting to shut down, and so now they're trying to figure out like how to stream and still be able to support and connect with like their audiences and their constituencies and like all of that. And so I put churches in here, but schools are another thing, daycares are another thing. And then think of like what other industries are usually used to connecting to people offline that are now on online and maybe struggling, that I can reach out to and offer my services if I know how to set this thing up and make sure that they look good and everything is connected, they have the proper bandwidth, like all of that, right? And so that is number 9, y'all. And then, all right, number 10 is being a virtual summit / conference planner. Everybody, it may feel like everybody and their mama is running a virtual summit right now. And that may be true, right? Depending on where you are, what you do in your space, it may feel like that. Not all virtual summits are created equal. Some are really good, some really suck. But I think if you are usually an event planner, right? Event planner, event producer, and you are trying to stay afloat in this industry because the convention centers are closed, people aren't hosting a lot of convenings. I think in the future, right, I think there's going to be a very, very slow trickle, even when everything opens back up, into the mass events that we all know and love, right? I highly doubt South by Southwest is going to happen again next year, although that is one of my most favorite events to go to. And so what does that look like online, right? And so a lot of people are switching to virtual summits and virtual conferences. As a speaker, I have been speaking at a lot of virtual summits and virtual conferences and virtual planning and events and like all of that stuff. And so they still need someone to book the speakers, right? To manage the platform. A lot of people are using Hopin, but there are quite a few others. Market the conference as well. Send out thank you gifts, like everything on the back end of planning an event leading up to the day of the event still needs to happen in the virtual space. Like that need has not gone away. And so if you are an event planner, if you were wanting to be an event planner and want to use like virtual events to kind of get your feet wet and get a good understanding and get some good experience as to like what is required on the back end of putting an event together, considering launching a virtual summit side hustle, I think could do wonders for you. And I think when you're talking about finding who is planning a virtual summit, honestly, if you search the hashtag virtual summit, a lot of them are going to come up. They may be trying to manage it internally because they don't think that because it's virtual, it's nearly as much work as a physical event, but they will be mistaken, right? Like we're working on a virtual summit for Black Tech Week, and it's a lot of effing work. We're not trying to do this by ourselves. And so someone that understands events and people and experiences can really capitalize on launching a virtual summit, a virtual conference planning business. All right, number 11, I think is pretty self-explanatory, guys. It is Instacart, Uber Eats, Postmates, Grubhub delivery, and working for one of these companies and doing like food delivery has always been a side hustle for people, right? Making sure that you do it safely is my concern with that, but they're not going away, right? And so this is something that if you're just trying to figure out, like, I just need to put my oxygen mask on, I need to just get some more money coming in. I'm building my startup, but like trying to fundraise right now is almost near impossible because I don't have the connections or limited networks. If I got to do what I got to do, then there is guys, no shame in the game of like launching a side hustle ever or having to work for some of these platforms. And so number 11 is pretty self-explanatory. I think what the real interesting play is, moving from number 11 to number 12, is launching your own food delivery business. And so Instacart, Uber Eats, Postmates, Grubhub. There's a ton of these companies, delivery dudes in South Florida. I think they're in a bunch of states now, but they started in Delray Beach, my hometown. And so all of these at one point were like inundated, right? Like you could not get your groceries for days on end. It was just crazy. And so what I started to see, and I thought was really cool, and why I wanted to include this in the session, is that I started to see people, restaurants say, hey, we're going to launch our own. And just so we can get to the people fastest, or the fees that these companies were charging were exorbitant amount of money that just made it nearly impossible for food companies or whoever uses those platforms to be able to make a living, although this was like the only way that they can reach their customers because their restaurants were closed. And so a lot of them were deciding to launch their own. Do they have the infrastructure or know how to do that? More than likely they didn't, right? So that was a learning curve that a lot of them would pay for someone else to just do this, whether it's a profit share, whether they pay you by the hour. If this is something that you got a bike, you got a energy efficient car, or what, or you just want to be able to do this, reaching out to restaurants that are not on those platforms and saying, hey, I can provide the delivery service for you, setting your radius. So you're not riding your bike 30 miles in order to deliver cold food, but setting your radius is something that if this works for you, it makes sense for you, then definitely explore that. I think even if the companies are using a food delivery service, remind you, if you can deliver a quality service in this, but charge a fraction of what the percentage is that these larger companies are taking out, that could be a win for you, right? And so there's white label apps that allow you to, like, there's all this kind of stuff that you can do, but you can also just kind of keep it really, really simple. As people order, you put the address in, all of that stuff. I think people are really accustomed to being able to track, right, the time that it takes for them to be able to get that. So you want to figure that part out. But I think number 12 can be a win. I think also not just for food delivery, but for essentials, right? Toilet paper and hand sanitizer, or things that people need. New parents don't really want to take their kids out. They don't want to have to put the mask on and get them out of the car because you can't leave your kids in the car. Please don't leave your kids in the car. They can't do all those things. So delivery is a convenience that people will pay more for, just so that they don't have to like put all the armor on in order to kind of go out. And I think it's a big inconvenience for like new parents or people that are taking care of elderly, or just people that are vulnerable right now and don't want to leave the house for the risk of exposure to COVID. And so that's also a risk on the other side of being the delivery person. So keep that in mind. But people will pay a premium to have things to them right away, because that is the society that we are in. And I will not forget, like, I think Danny, a friend of mine, she was telling me about a friend of hers when COVID first hit, and it was taking like 5 days to get an Instacart order. She was like, a friend of mine she charged $40, and she'll go up to 3 stores for people and shop for them. And she was like, she's killing it because she's just like, her competitive advantage against the big boys, because oftentimes we don't enter markets, or we don't enter industries, or we don't even just launch side hustles because we think that there's no advantage for the little person. But the huge advantage in that moment, and I think it's still an advantage, is that she could get it to them that same day, as opposed to, yes, Instacart or whatever, or ship and like all these other ones. Yeah, they're the big boy, they're trusted, but they could not respond fast enough. And if people need something right away, they will pay for it. Y'all know this. All right. Anyways, let me move on. And so hold on, let me connect to my notes because I went on a tangent, y'all. All right. And so independent food delivery and personal shoppers are, oh, sorry. All right, sell stock photos. And so this is, I think, is really interesting. I put this in here. So you have websites like Stocksy and Canva and Shutterstock and iStock Photos are all websites that buy and sell photos. Well, Canva doesn't really sell photos, but through their membership, like their pro membership, you get access to photos. But so if you're a photographer and you're looking to make some money with your photos, you have to check out selling your photos to these opportunities. Where I think the real play is right now, and Canva, I ride hard for Canva. I love it. It's just very easy for myself and my team to use. kind of no brainer. And then like the difficult stuff we work with a graphic designer on, right? But because, excuse me, diversity and diversity is such a hot topic right now. And so many companies are changing their image. They're trying to be more responsive and responsible. They are trying to diversify their marketing efforts and all this stuff. They are looking for diverse representation in like the stock photo, stock video. If this is something that you have, this, I'm telling you, is a hot commodity right now. I'm telling you this why, because although I love Canva's like photography, the short videos that they have, it sucks as it relates to having like enough diversity so that I don't have to go find something else. There are a number of platforms that do provide diverse photography, stock photos, and things like that. But inside their platform, they need to do better. Are they going to hire a bunch of photographers under COVID? Probably not. But if you have a lot of stock photo that you can license to them, that they can use, that you can make some money, like that's not a bad play right now. Same thing for all these other websites. Stocksy, Unsplash is another one, but Unsplash doesn't pay, as far as I know. Because someone correct me. I don't think Unsplash pays the people that contribute photos because it's kind of open and anyone can use it as long as you kind of credit back to them. But the rest of them that do, like, get your stuff, gather your stuff, gather your receipts, your photos, and your videos, and start selling it to these platforms. And then look at, right, I just kind of gave you 4 that I know of that I have used, but there are so many other websites, and you look and say, hey, they don't have enough of these type of photos. It may be a competitive advantage for me. It may be a great opportunity. It may be a good conversation starter to get things open by telling them like, hey, you're missing out because you don't have enough of these kind of photos or enough of this kind of representation. And imagine all the designers that are wanting to use your platform but decide to go elsewhere because they don't see the images that they can use to easily be able to use your platform in order to do their work and move on. All right. Personal shopper. I kind of went over this when I was talking about this one. And so I'll briefly go through this, but y'all know what personal shoppers are. They've always existed, nothing new under the COVID craziness. But I think there's a higher commodity for them right now more than ever before because again, people are apprehensive to leave their house, and but they still need things done, whether it's clothes, whether it's shoes, whether it's medication, whether it's supplies, whether it's water, like all of those different things. And again, maybe the personal shopping angle for you is going to shop for people at locations that Instacart, Stock, and Shopify, not Shopify, goodness, Instacart and like all these other platforms that they don't go to, they don't have a presence in. And that you can say, hey, I specialize in these stores. Maybe it's, I specialize in local, artisanal, whatever. And that is your play as a personal shopper. Maybe it's like, you know, disaster relief shoppers, and I'm just kind of throwing this stuff out there, but like disaster relief shopper or something like that. And you will help people like stock up on their water. Like my parents have 20 cases of water at their house. I might go steal a few cases from them. And they're just like, hey, you know, whether it's COVID or whether it's a hurricane, we stock up on water. And so, but water is heavy to carry, right? And so, and a lot of these stores, if you're using Instacart or any of the other stuff, are limiting the amount of water that you can get. I think maybe 2 cases. And so, but my parents got 20, right? And so they're also older. And so someone with a good back needs to carry that. Anyways, I'm kind of joking, but get creative and think through like, what do people need that I can provide? That is always, when we're talking about starting a business, that is always a question that you should be asking. What is the problem that I can solve for people? And so a personal shopper, Stocksy, like all of this is, you're solving an immediate problem for people. And that's how you become valuable. And that's how you can also charge, right? And then figuring out a repeatable model for this so that you continue to get customers coming in would be like the next step. And so, all right, guys. Condo DJ, condo quarantine DJ. And so I live in a condo in my building in Miami. And when COVID first started, I guess, I guess they were just trying to put smiles on people's faces. I don't know, whatever they were trying to do. But almost every weekend, there was a DJ on a Friday or a Saturday that would come and just blast music. Everyone would get on their balconies or whatever, and it would be like this condo virtual party. I thought it was hilarious, but what's not hilarious is the DJ was getting paid, right? And so in a time where clubs are closed and there's DJs all over the place trying to figure out what to do, reaching out to condo buildings and saying like, hey, let me be your condo DJ, right? I thought it was just such a cool idea. And I was just like, who is talking about this? Who is pivoting in this way? And, I think in New York, we saw some condo DJ or building apartment DJ or whatever that was playing like Biggie Smalls. Like, you can charge for this stuff. And I thought it was just so cool. I don't have a DJ bone in my body, but if I did, I don't know. I thought it was cool. Anyways, virtual DJs. And so this is a no-brainer, right? I think D Nice kind of set the tone for this. And I haven't been following his story in a while, but I've been to a number of his parties, right? With the Obamas and the Oprahs and all those people of the world. And they've been pretty fantastic. And so I think, he had like a Cash App at one point, and I've seen other DJs have a Cash App and are taking donations. The other part that I saw was like sponsors, right? People are trying to or had started sponsoring them. I think people want a really cool experience that's safe and COVID free. And if you are a dope DJ and you can galvanize your community, you can charge for that. And so I think the easiest example to point to was Erykah Badu. She started doing that, right? She would do the free stuff, right? She would jump on verses with my favorite artist, Jill Scott, and then she would invite everyone to her platform, Badu's World or something like that. And I think the first time she did it, she was charging everyone $1 to just get access to this, right? And so what you're really selling is access to a unique experience that other people are not going to have. And you can charge for that online, right? There are so many DJ Zoom private parties that are happening. People still get to connect. Maybe you put a drink list together or something like that, and people make their own drinks at home and they get to see each other, they're dancing, they're partying. The possibilities are really cool and really endless. All right, guys. This one, Badu is, yes, Jessica, Badu is an absolute genius. And so I love her. I love her stuff. I'm actually going to take a break, y'all, because we're going through 65, right? And so we're only on number 17. All right, guys. And so number 17, I didn't know what the title of this person was, but this person has value, right? And so number 17 is a stand in line person. Y'all tell me what the actual, hey, Dr. Tashi, hey, Tashi, how's it going? So y'all tell me what the actual title is for a stand in line person. But if you've ever been to Whole Foods on a Saturday with the 6 feet of social distancing, that line has been wrapped around the building, right? And so even thinking through, can you pay someone to stand in that line for you? You sit in your car. It's a little bit of a joke, but it's also serious, right? And then you jump in and swoop in at the when they get to the front. But people have done this for buying iPhones, right? They didn't want to stand in that line for an iPhone. They couldn't get the iPhone online at one point, and so they would pay people to stand in those lines. Buying sneakers, right? Rare sneakers and all of that stuff. And people were doing that too, like paying someone to stand in the line for them so that they can get the sneakers before anyone else. Concert tickets, I mean, no one's doing that right now, but at one point. And so this is nothing new. And so, but you also think about things that are of need. I remember seeing on the news about like unemployment lines and social services lines and things like that. And so can you charge, can someone pay you to do that? That's not out of the realm these days when people either need to practice safe distancing or, they'll pay you a premium so that they don't have to stand in the line, but maybe someone physically needs to be there. You would think that all these antiquated social services have gotten that figured out, but they don't. They're still requiring people to stand in line. I think, the really interesting thing to even kind of throw out around this, and I'm throwing out some wacky ideas around number 17, but voting is going to be off the chain in November. Can you stand in line for someone and then they swoop in until they can vote? I don't know. Anyways, I just kind of threw in some funny ones. All right. Number 18, a platform and some platforms that I think people know enough about, but I'm including it in there as well. Jessica said Oh, line sitter. Yes, that's what it's called. And I think that's a website for it too. And so they called them line sitters, I think. Yes. All right. So I'll make sure that gets updated because I'm like stand in line person. Who knows? All right. And she said there's a whole category for it on Fiverr. Perfect, because I'm getting ready to talk about Fiverr. And so TaskRabbit, Fancy Hands, Guru.com, Fiverr, there are all these platforms that connect you to people that need something for done in a really quick time frame for them. That's a task, right? Task, quick gig. You may or may not make a lot of money doing it. You may realize like, hey, what I've seen a lot of people actually do in order to start making serious money on these platforms is they do something small to be able to kind of get clients in and prove themselves, and then they try and then work with them off platform, right? Which I know a lot of these websites have kind of policies in place so that that doesn't happen. It always happens. It always happens. And so can you use it as a lead generator, or just figure out a lane within those platforms of something that you can do? Put furniture together, again, concierge service, pick things up, ship things for people. People still need a lot of things shipped. There are a lot of people still spending a lot of money online, and those orders need to be shipped, right? Can you do that for them? Is that a gig that you can find on TaskRabbit? Delivering things for them, courier services are something that I see oftentimes people use on TaskRabbit. I've used TaskRabbit in the past as a courier service for us as well. And so Fancy Hands is something that I have used for years. It is a virtual assistant platform, anything from scheduling meetings to transcribing to research. It's a really easy platform that I use from my phone. And so that's another one. Guru.com, there's everything under the sun. And then Fiverr is everything under the sun, right? And if you're familiar with Fiverr, I use Fiverr for a lot of really random quick stuff that I just need to get done. But it started off as a platform for people to use where they could find, things that people do for them for $5. And it is no longer $5, like the dollar store, right? The dollar store at one point was like things that you can buy for $1 or less. And the dollar store is not $1 anymore, right? They have all kind of stuff there. And Fiverr has like the pro program now that you see people charging hundreds of thousands of dollars to do stuff. And so it's a marketplace for that. And so using those resources to connect with people that can then pay you to do things. And I think then like showing yourself and then quickly kind of taking them off platform legally or however that works is a recommendation for starting to find some leads and making it easier to go from idea to actually like monetizing on your idea. All right, guys. Online tutoring is number 19. And so listen, y'all, this is also a no-brainer. It is something that has existed for a really long time, whether it was SAT prep, college prep, but now because kids are at home, they will probably still be at home into the fall. I am waiting for Miami-Dade to make that announcement. I know it's coming. I'm bracing myself for that to be a homeschool teacher again, but parents have had to figure it out, right? And even with us, we have 2 tutors for my daughter. She's 6. She's going into the first grade, but I didn't want her education to stop. But I also know she's tired of me teaching her. I'm tired of teaching. Like it's a whole thing, right? And so being able to introduce her to people that are fun, that are engaging, that this working with like 6 and 7-year-olds are their wheelhouse is something that parents will pay for, and pay a premium for as well, especially for good online tutors. And so if this is something that you can do, if this is something that you can provide, put a quick, Squarespace site together or whatever, and offer your services, have your packages. This is what you charge per hour. This is what you do, and get that thing rolling, man. And do that every single day. I'm telling you, I'm a mom of 2, so I'm in a lot of mom groups, and this is something that they are constantly looking for, engaging high quality tutors to work with their kids. I think a lot of parents going into the fall are going to be trying to figure out, right? I'm already seeing it. People are setting up like small what is it called? Homeschool groups, where they're like the parents are going to come together and hire a teacher and everyone pays that teacher's salary or that tutor's salary, and they will work with their small group of kids, right? I'm seeing that a lot. And so that in itself, if you are even offering your services to be able to do that, I think you can almost do 4 of those groups a day if you slice it the right way. Like, and again, I'm just kind of thinking out loud, but and thinking on the fly. But I think if anything that I've seen take off like crazy, it has been people respecting and valuing and paying a premium for online tutors. And so you can be teaching anything literally under the sun, and people are looking to get that one-on-one connection, and that's something that you can charge a premium for. Let's see. Okay. All right. And so where are we next? We are at number 20. So number 20 is something that I've also seen pop off right during COVID that didn't necessarily exist. I mean, clothing designers existed, of course, but mask designers, and not just any old boring mask designers, like the creative, like, yes, come get this designer mask designers. And so where everyone under the sun is, it feels like they're making masks, but it's still a really good business, right? And so we are going to need masks for the foreseeable future. And so having one that matches your outfits or matches your purse or your shoes or whatever, that have your logo on them. I mean, people are getting really creative. I thought it was hilarious in the beginning when we were starting to be required to do masks and everyone just had the big N95 or whatever medical crazy looking mask, and like now you're seeing people paint lips on the mask and their logo and their brand. You know, I was teaching like one of the courses that I teach, and I was working with some entrepreneurs, and I'm just like, that is now real estate, right? And so if you're even thinking from a branding standpoint, that is some real estate that you can pay for. I mean, at minimum, having your own masks with your own brand on them, whether you sell them or you give them away, or the client gifts or whatever, that's some real estate. And so my partner, Starix, the Hungry Black Man, I see him doing his lives and he's traveling around, I'm praying this man don't get COVID, traveling out these streets like crazy. But, you know, he has the Ice Cream Heaven logo from our shop on his mask, and it's in every single video, and thousands of people like tune into his stuff. And so again, that's brandable real estate. But what we're talking about in number 20, before I get off track, is actually, you know, people making masks, buying sewing equipment cheap off of Amazon, making masks and offering it for people. And then I think there's levels to this, right? Doing it branded, matching clothes. And then if you are a clothing designer, I think you would be remiss to not then also do like the matching mask to match that outfit, and then being able to kind of upsell that. Like, do you want fries with this? Do you want a mask with this shirt? Do you want a mask with these pants? Do you want a mask with this belt? I don't know. I just think we're in some crazy, tragic times, but we're also in some really crazy, creative times as well. And so that's why I'm laughing about that, because I think it's who would have thought 4 months ago that we are going to be covering half of our faces just to go out into the world. And on top of that, we're going to want them to coordinate and match what we're doing. Like, and people are going to pay a premium for that, right? Like my husband was showing me, I think it was Louis Vuitton, but there was like a Louis Vuitton mask for, I don't know, $200 or something like that. And people are buying those things, right? And I'm just like, this looks horrendous. And who wants to walk around with all Louis Vuitton logos on their, maybe that's my thinking, maybe whatever, but they're selling it. So, right. So while I have a bunch of $5 and $10 masks laying around my house for me and my husband and the kids, Louis Vuitton said there's levels to this, and we're going to sell this mask for $200. So anyways, y'all. All right. And so the next one, just random, but teach a flower arranging classes online. This is something that I saw someone doing it. Their rates were like $99 a person to take the class. I thought it was really cool. I have picked up this really random hobby. Will never turn into a business or anything like that, but like arranging flowers. I was like, oh, there's an art to this. And so know that people will pay for your expertise. They will, and it doesn't even have to be hardcore skills, guys. Sometimes people will pay for a moment of joy as well. And so for me, it was just like a moment of joy to learn how to like arrange flowers into this big vase that I have in our kitchen. And if anyone else is like me, you've picked up a ton of plants, right? And so how do I keep these plants alive is the other thing that I'm happily like will pay someone to learn or watch a YouTube video, but get creative in thinking about like what can you teach, again, that doesn't have to be a hardcore skill or hard skill or a soft skill. It could literally just be a moment of joy. There are people that teach meditation classes. Excuse me. I just found this website the other day called Cave Day. I have it written right here, so that's what I'm looking at. Called Cave Day, and it's y'all just Google Cave Day. I think it's brilliant, but it's more brilliant in how simple it is. And it's really, I think you pay $35 a month or 20 bucks to jump into a guest session of it. And what does it do? It teaches you how to, well, it's an hour session that you get on with a group of people, and it's like a hyper focus session. So almost think of it as like you're paying to co-work with someone else, but also be held accountable for that 1 hour to just get that thing done. So if you're easily distracted, like I think they send you like a zipper bag that you got to put your phone in. You got to turn off all notifications on your phone or in your computer or whatever. You get online with a bunch of other people from all around the world. You don't really talk to each other that much during that hour or 2 hour, 3 hour session, however long it is. And you just, you say, this is the one thing that I need to work on. I need to get done. I need to read. It could even just be reading something. And I'm going to pay someone $35 just to hold me accountable for that hour or 2 hours or whatever, just to say that I got that thing done and literally do it, right? Like, it's just like, what are you talking about right now? Right? But it works. And people are paying $35 a month just to be able to do this and have a moment of focus. And so, again, guys, this is not the time to overthink these things. If you're looking for a side hustle, this is your time to hustle and get creative and test things and throw things up against the wall and seeing what sticks. But there's a need out there. The other thing that I always like to tell people when I'm working with them is just like, other people's pockets are not your concern, right? Like, if you showcase the value in what you're doing and you zero in on who the right target market is for your side hustle and what you're building, then the price is not the issue. Because a lot of times we get into business and we're just like, oh my God, like I gotta support the person. Like, no, like you can create a premium experience and connect to the right person. And you don't have to, start with bare bottom prices. But you have to sit in the mindset of saying, other people's pockets are not my concern, right? And so it's not about like, oh my God, they can't afford this or they're trying to negotiate me down. You're probably talking to the wrong person. You're pitching to the wrong person. And if you create a premium experience and a premium product, and that's where you want to live, you can also create something that is low cost, but know who your target market is for that. But you can also say, I can create a premium product, right? Like the Louis Vuitton mask that I just talked about. I'm not buying it, but I'm also not their customer. But they created that thing and a lot of people are going to buy it. And those are their customers, right? And so them trying to do the price thing with me, it's like, it's not even about the $200 mask. It's just like, I don't need that, right? And it's not something important to me, and it's not something of value to me. Why? Because I am not their right customer. I just need a mask that works. I don't need it branded. I don't need none of that, right? I just need it to work, need it to do what it's supposed to do, and I can move on. And that's it, right? And so I'm on a tangent again, and we got a lot to cover. All right, just to say, you're so right. Creativity is the key. Hey, Jay Charles, JC, love all this. JC is killing it too. And JC, you know what? I was going to, no, actually I did. I pseudo included like your space and your new business in this presentation. So you'll be proud. I'm gonna shout you out at that point. So, and you give me give us any advice or tidbits when I get to that point. So Tashi said, this is great. Hey guys, hey everyone. All right, and so farmers market, I think, are a no-brainer. People are still doing farmers markets. If you're creating artisanal products, if you have a storefront, I think this is a great way to still be able to get customers coming. You may have a really small storefront with your artisanal products. People would love to get back to the farmers market experience. And so if you can create that for them, or if you can create a farmers market type experience with people just being able to come in, maybe you set it up outside social distancing wise, why not do that? I think one of the cool things, and I wish I would have included it in here, is if anyone is in Palm Beach County, they did something really interesting that I thought was cool, even kind of around this farmers market thing, is they set up like a fair food drive-through. So at the Palm Beach County fairgrounds, right, massive space, they had all these vendors set up like their food in their tents. And so instead of people like walking around like we would usually do at a farmer's market or at a fair or a festival, you would just drive by, drive through and like get the thing that you want brought to your car, and then you just kind of keep going, which I thought was just such a, I don't know how well it did, but I thought the idea was amazing, right? I thought it was really fun and a way for people to still have that enchanting moment of fair food without getting out of their car. And so farmers markets, I haven't seen enough of them pivot in that way. Or people that, if you have a bunch of friends that you have artisanal products, is there a way for you to find some space, a parking lot? A lot of businesses are closed that will happily like let you use their parking lot or let you rent their parking lot for cheap. And can you set up something like that that allows people to social distance, but still be able to shop for your thing or be introduced to your product? And then you invite them to start buying your product on an ongoing basis online. All right. Tashi said, yeah, farmers markets are an excellent place to sell products. They are. Like when we first started Feverish, that's where we started, right? And then as we grew out of farmers markets, we still use them as a marketing tool to introduce people to like our catering offerings and corporate events and all that stuff. All right, guys, number 23, freelance writer. And so pretty self-explanatory, right? If you can write and you want to be charged, you want to charge for it, there are all these platforms that exist that are marketplaces for you to connect as a freelance writer, right? I think one of the interesting plays on this is also look for people that are notable people that have a voice, that have a substantial following and engagement on social media, that may not have a blog or are looking for writing opportunities and suck at that you can offer your writing services to them. You can ghostwrite for them as well. I know quite a few people that ghostwrite for some CEOs that are charging like $2,500 and up an article. They're not playing games, right? And they don't need the credit. They're ghostwriters. They've committed to that and they write content. And then I see these same content appear on Forbes and Entrepreneur, like all of this stuff. And so know that that is a real possibility for you as a freelance writer. Creating content is big right now. I know some people that charge and again do ghostwriting for people on like their LinkedIn blogs. There's so many different possibilities around freelance writing. And I guess the easiest way to start Googling, right? For freelance writing opportunities. There's a really good list on Twitter, guys, and I'll try and find it when this is over and post it into this thread so that you guys can see it. But I think that could be really helpful. They have a bunch of opportunities on there, people that are looking for freelance writers. All right, next up in the side hustle, number 24, a virtual substitute teacher. And so, guys, again, the things that existed offline are now all pivoting. And so just like teachers got sick or needed a day off or whatever in real life, same thing is happening virtually. And so I think virtual provides this area where people can easily kind of support and hop in, but you can do these things from home. And so if a charter school, private school, a camp or whatever, if they have a teacher missing, a lot of people are getting sick. We're in a pandemic, right? And are not able to show up for the next day. Can you offer your services as a virtual substitute teacher to all and get on their list, their preferred vendor list, their substitute teacher list or whatever. So at any time, if someone can't show up and perform, I can serve in that capacity for them. I thought this was brilliant, right? And so when we were putting this together, I'm like, this is amazing. This absolutely makes a lot of sense, especially if this is well within your wheelhouse. I think reaching out to a bunch of schools, and again, like I am the queen of outsourcing, right? Like I'm not gonna lie, I outsourced this presentation. And so I wrote the article and I wrote the list and like all the descriptions, right? That's what I'm reading from. You can find that on my blog. and then find this whole PDF thing inside the side hustle course, which is free, y'all. And then I went on Fancy Hands and was just like, I need you to find a photo to match every single one of the side hustles that I talk about in the ebook. And they did it, right? And so it came back, and this is what you're looking at. And so I don't even know why I got on the tangent about being a queen of outsourcing, but oh yes, okay. And so if you need someone to put a list together of all the schools, right? The preschools, the charter schools, the elementary schools, the summer camps, the virtual summer camps in your city, so that then you can then go and pitch yourself as a virtual substitute teacher. You can get that done for $5 or $10 or $20. Fiverr, Upwork, Fancy Hands, there's all these resources that do that. And so you don't have to be like, oh my God, like, yes, I want to do this, but then like, where am I going to find these people? You have web scrapers, you have internet researchers, you have virtual assistants that will easily do this stuff for you. And so you got to think about the opportunity cost, right? Like, hey, you may not want to spend the $20 for someone to do this research, but if you spend $20 and you don't procrastinate on doing this yourself because it just seems so daunting and you don't want to do this and you solely want to focus on like your stuff, which is being able to be a phenomenal virtual substitute teacher, then if you make $1,000 off of someone doing the beginning research for you for $20, that is a huge gap in the opportunity cost. And so, that's $980. And I'm, again, just throwing numbers out there, $980 that you gain by spending $20. And if you had not done the outsourcing to get the list, you would still be sitting at home twiddling your thumbs trying to figure out how to scrape, rub two nickels together, instead of saying, let me get creative, let me put myself out there, let me use people and their skill set, let me pay a little bit of money, and then I have no excuses but to not do this, right? All right, guys, number 25. I'm, again, like, we put this list together, y'all don't come at me, right? But I also wanted to explore some things that are not like unconventional, right? And so if you are looking to be a surrogate as a side hustle, it is also a possibility. It is something people do in real life. They did it before COVID. They're still doing it after COVID. As a surrogate, you could be a blessing in disguise for families. I did some quick research when I was putting this list together. I saw surrogates make upwards of $60,000 and up. All your favorite celebrities are doing it. I put a picture of, what's her name again? Kim Kardashian, Gabrielle Union. I think one of the ladies on Real Housewives did it, like, right? And those are celebrities, but everyday people do it as well. And it's a quick way, to make $60,000 and up as far as what I saw in my internet research. And so if that is your jam, and if that's the role that you want to play in blessing someone, you can charge for that. And that is also a side hustle that you might not necessarily be able to do it in this weekend, but you can start your research and maybe sign up with some agencies this weekend and then start having conversations. And whatever that due diligence process is, I have no idea what it is. But I'm just throwing it out there as an idea for you to be able to explore, right? All right, and so let me go to answer questions really quick. All right, and so I'm looking at two things, guys, because I'm on Zoom doing this so that the presentation shows up for you on Facebook, and then I'm looking at the comments on my phone, so that's where I'm going. Christina said this. I had no idea this existed. How does one find a ghostwriter? You know what? Upwork is a great resource to find a ghostwriter, believe it or not, and posting like your creative brief on there and the things that you need done. Content writers are another thing that you can do and work with as well. I've worked with a content writer on my first book. And so, but yeah, Upwork, right? Or Google ghostwriters, and I'm sure that they come up. I have some friends on Facebook that are ghostwriters as well, but I would say put your design brief together, what you want, or is it content brief of what you want done, and then use those platforms in order to start connecting with people, whether you need it as a book, an ebook, some articles that you need ghostwritten or whatever, you have that possibility. All right, guys, printing. And so companies and organizations are constantly in need of either t-shirts and other printed materials. and that people do all the time. And so you might consider forging a relationship with a local printer who can perform the actual printing if you don't necessarily have this equipment yourselves. A lot of graphic designers do it, right? Like they also provide the printing services, but they're not buying the equipment. They will do the design for you. They'll also charge you for the printing. They get the prints delivered to you, but they're then outsourcing it to an actual company that has the equipment. Why is this important? I mean, regular printing has always existed. We know that, right? I got papers in my hand and posters and stuff all behind me. But why is this different under COVID? The rules are changing every single day, all across the United States, all across the world. And so what we've started to see are a number of things that businesses are needing to be printed. And you can be proactive, right? As someone launching a startup or launching a hustle or a business, side hustle, whatever. Or you can be reactive. And this is a way to think about being proactive. And so as you see new regulations come out, new laws, can you like do a mock-up of these signs and start sending it to businesses and say, hey, I can get this to you within 24 hours, or I can get this to you within 48 hours, like whatever it is. Wash your hand signs, wear masks, 6 feet. You've seen a lot of businesses have like these temporary signs that say we're open, or we're open for delivery and takeout. Someone had to print those things, and someone charged for those things to be done. Someone had to do the design work. You get where I'm going, right? And so if you want to kind of serve as the broker, kind of middleman, and work on behalf of a printing shop, or work and get the orders and do the design and then outsource it to a printing shop, like you got something to work with here. But I think anything that allows a business owner to not have to overthink something, but solves a problem for them, is a way in with these businesses. A lot of it's going to be pitching, right? And having to get real comfortable with pitching, but that is a part of the sales process of running a business, right? And so just knowing that as you see something flash on CNN as a new thing and it affects businesses, can you be proactive and reach out to them and let them know that this is something, because they may not even be aware of it. And you letting them know that this is something that they should be concerned about, something that they can be fined for. They're going to be like, okay, like, yes, get me these signs. Can you get it printed? Can you deliver it? Maybe even help me install it and pay for it, is something that you can be considering, right? I think under COVID, like people were having to set up barriers, and we've seen a lot of companies do like the large sneeze guards. That was, someone had to pay for that, or someone had to build that. And someone was also proactive enough to say, let me start reaching out to businesses, because they now require this, because their county, their state, their city, or whatever is now requiring this. Let me reach out to the businesses so that they don't have to scratch their head and figure out like, who can provide a sneeze guard to me, right? For my whole thing, right? And everything, you know, I've seen so many stores randomly like have them, but they're necessities. And so, all right, guys, we're on to number 27. And so number 27 is medical transcription. No brainer. I mean, if you watch TV, you see the commercials like all the time. Medical coders, medical transcribers. One of the things I think is really interesting is like, people in this space actually make a really good living. I cannot remember who I was having a conversation with, but they were struggling to get people into their program. And it was something locally here to South Florida. And I feel like she was saying like, you know, they pay upwards of like $60,000 plus, and people can work from their home. And they were having problems getting like young people excited about it, because it just sounded really boring. And she was like, they can work from home, and they do the training, and then after that, they immediately can get them into jobs. I don't remember the full conversation, but it was that. And at the time, I was just like, I did not know medical transcribers make that much money. And again, it's one of those things that is always going to exist, because look at where we are in our healthcare system. And so these are one of those jobs that I feel, or gigs or side hustles, that could be very lucrative to someone that is looking to explore that. So Google medical transcribers, there's a bunch of courses. I think look at what the actual salary is, and if it's something that you want to pursue as a side hustle. And if there's other creative ways to be able to do that, then do that as well. All right, guys, next up, number 28 is a furniture maker. And so whether you're making furniture, I go on Instagram, and my husband's like, do not bring another thing in this house, Felicia. Don't bring another thing in this house. I am a like bohemian wood, like aesthetic junkie. Like I love all of that stuff. In my past life, I feel like I was an interior designer of some sorts, right? But I think either making furniture or putting furniture together is a really great side hustle. And I think you can get so creative right now. I think the real play with this is people have been home for extended periods of time. And because they no longer have like the first place and the second place being their home, you know, I think Starbucks used to advertise like they were people's third place or third home or something like that. There's one primary place that they constantly look at every single day, and they're getting tired of the place. And so they're just like, what can I do to make this different? How can I support local artists or furniture makers? That becomes a really unique opportunity for you. All right, guys, don't at me, don't go crazy, but like people still make money with MLM companies. So the Avons of the world and the Legal Shields, and vet these things. I can't stress enough, vet them, vet them, vet them, vet them, right? But they still work. And so I think Avon and Mary Kay and I think Amway are probably like the most notable, I would probably say the most trusted, but they're still multi-level marketing like companies. There are also a lot of scams with MLM companies as well. I shy away. Y'all all know this, right? The minute someone's just like, I have a video for you to watch. I can't explain what it is, but it's a really great opportunity. And I know, I know you are about making that money. Just watch this video. I'm like, what is the video? I can't tell you what the video is about, but I just need you to watch it. I can't tell you what the meeting is, but please just come to this meeting. It is going to blow your world. It's a unique opportunity for you. I'm just like, nah, I'm good. If you guys have ever been in that experience, like, please let me know. It's pretty wild. And I just kind of laugh, but I'm joking. I think there's some unique ways for people to still be able to do this. I could not put this list together without at least throwing it out there. I know I got a lot of friends and family that, or some friends and family that work for like Mary Kay and Avon and, excuse me, Legal Shield. And I had a conversation with a cousin of mine this week about Legal Shield because I'm like, what are you doing with your life? And she's like, I'm making good money, Felicia. Like, leave me alone. So I'm like, okay, all right, you're good. All right. Anyways, number 30, express laundry service or laundry and pickup and delivery or wash and fold or whatever. And so, guys, a lot of laundry facilities do this as a service already. I think the real play is actually being able to do the pickup and delivery. Not all of them do them. Actually, most of them do not do it. And so I think I've included this on the list because I think, again, when we're talking about convenience and people paying a premium for convenience, and then thinking of like really easy side hustles to do, right? Some are easy that you can do on a computer. Some of them are messy, right? And some of them are not sexy at all, but they can actually be very lucrative because you are, again, solving a problem. People have problems and they pay for solutions every single day of the week, every minute of the hour of the day, like all of it. And so think about who you can attract, right? Not who you can attract, but who you can reach out to, who you can service, where the need is for this. I think some of the easiest stuff like restaurants and things, and there are companies that provide that service already, but thinking about who needs this in the moment, right? Like I have used wash and fold services quite a few times. At one point I was using it on a regular basis because I had 2 kids and things would just pile up, right? And then when we wash them, who the heck's gonna fold these things? And so dropping it off to a wash and fold service and then being able to pick it up, and they were charging like, I don't know, 75 cents a pound. It just like financially just made sense. And it wasn't the thing that I ended up arguing about. Right. And so, but then it was just like, oh, by the time I like put this thing into my, like bag this up, put it into my car, take it to this place, wait for it to get back, put it back in my car, put it back in the house. It's just like, I might as well just do this myself. Right. And so thinking about solving that problem for people and then putting them on like a monthly subscription plan with this, like every week on Fridays, we'll pick up everything, we'll go get it washed, we'll fold it, we'll bring it back, we'll put it away or whatever. That's a service that I think a lot of busy people will pay for. And again, just because we're home with COVID, it doesn't mean that busy people aren't still busy and don't want to do these things, or daycares or hospitals or whatever, right? Again, throwing out some possibilities around this. All right, number 31, JC. This is where my shout out, if JC is still on, this is my shout out to you, JC. I was thinking about what you were doing and what you built, and it's epic. And so tell me, if you're still on, JC, tell us the name of your company and drop that in. I actually have a friend that's looking for some moving services, so I'm going to send him your way as well. But social distancing moving services. This sounds way more sophisticated, guys, than it really is. It is really, we were just thinking like moving services that promote like, healthy social distancing, whatever. The person doesn't have to be in the home. You use like, your face guards and safe shoes covers and a lot of that stuff that most moving companies don't do, right? Because they are a need and a necessity and a crunch. And it's just like, and as someone who's used moving companies quite a few times, you're just like, can you pack all this stuff up and can it safely get to X, Y, and Z? But when you're thinking about the times that we're in right now with COVID and people entering your home, right? People that you don't know, are they practicing safe distancing, not safe distancing, but like healthy practices and hygiene practices, and COVID like practices are not. And as a moving company that can promote that, I think you have something really lucrative as a side hustle, right? And so advertising that, talking about sanitizing, the boxes or the truck or the person or whatever. I don't know. I just thought that it was a mini pivot that moving companies can make for people to be rest assured that, hey, I'm bringing them into my home, either my old home, transferring it to my new home, my office to my new office or whatever. And I think people are looking more for not just, can you do this moving service as a side hustle, but are you going to do it safely as well? And I think you can charge a premium for that. I've seen car washes do that. Okay, yes, JC said it's called Move It Squad. So y'all check, if you're looking for moving services, check it out. JC is awesome and solid, and is a multiple entrepreneur, right? He's doing quite a few things and has been a friend for a really long time. And so, guys, if you are car washes, I've seen, or car wash people, and I'm going to talk about mobile car washing in a bit, but I've also seen more mobile car wash companies or people that are using car wash services actually are promoting first that they are doing like sanitization of cars, and then they're charging a premium and an extra to do that, right? Which is just another way of just saying, I was gonna say another way of saying they just spraying some extra Lysol, but it could be more than that. But if you're thinking of, again, someone being in your space and cleaning it, also knowing that they're doing an extra layer of sanitization is something that people will pay for just for a peace of mind. And you can charge in your side hustle for people to have peace of mind in this moment. All right, I'm going to breeze through some of this stuff because we have been on for a while, y'all. All right, and so number 32, online gardening expert. Where are my notes, y'all? Because again, I was talking about being a new plant mama, and a lot of people are plant mamas and papas these days because they're home and they need green, and having like plants around just kind of does something for you mentally. But even just kind of thinking of, a lot of people are also saying, because early when COVID first started, they were talking about food shortages, meat shortages, supply, grain short, like all of this stuff. And so a lot of people are just like, you know what? It's like the oh god, the zombie apocalypse, right? When people were going crazy about the zombie apocalypse, my brother was one of them, weirdly, but whatever. Anyways, we have to be self-sufficient and self-reliant, and we're going to start planting our own like fruits and vegetables so that if the grocery store is shut down, we can still survive and we can still eat. That being said, if a lot of people are feeling like that, they then need the tools and expertise. If you can provide that and teach them how to do that, whether that's one-on-one consulting sessions, whether that is a course that you create, but also know that a lot of people are looking. And a really good way, guys, to test some of these ideas is like search for these things on Google. There's platforms like Ask the Internet that also tells you like what exactly people are searching for around certain key terms so that you can see. You can search that by zip codes as well. You can search by hashtags to see like what is kind of trending in these spaces. and then start marketing, start creating the content, start creating the way that they can spend money with you and use your IP in order to be able to get them the answers that they need. Again, solving problems, right? All right, guys, you can also think about, I have on this list, and not in addition to like homeowners and busy, busy business people wanting to access fresh fruits, vegetables, and herbs, you can also offer this to local businesses and homeowners, and they can watch your venture like, take off. But the other thing that you can think about doing is also selling the supplies and a kit for people to do it themselves. And so maybe you say, you know what, in addition to registering for my course that you're charging for, I'm also going to send you a DIY kit. And it's all the things that they need so that they don't have to overthink it. They don't have to then make a trip to the store. They don't have to buy random things off of Amazon. You buy all those things and then sell it to them in a kit. And that kit you can also charge a premium for. That kit you can send them once a month so that they grow something once a month. Like you can get really, really creative in this, right? All right, guys. Mystery shopping. Mystery shopping has not gone away. Dana said, moving companies made a lot of money moving out college kids out of their door. Oh, yes, right. And it was one of those things where they had to react really fast because, excuse me, usually moving companies make their money at the end of the school year. And most of them ended up like Christmas came early for them in the sense of like March and April became like the months where they need to move kids and move them into storage, right? I think the other part of that, which is really unfortunate, is I think what it was like 4 million Americans, or it was either 4 or 40. I'm really hoping it's 40, like did not pay their mortgage this past month, right? And so people are going to need to move. They're going to be downsizing. There's going to be a lot happening. And so as a moving company, that also becomes an opportunity for their business, right? It's an unfortunate, but it becomes an opportunity. And so watching the news, kind of having your feet to the ground, ear to the ground, so that you can be proactive as opposed to reactive, provides a really unique opportunity for them to be able to market your business. If a moving, starting a moving side hustle company is your thing. Scrap metal is another thing that I often see people do as a side hustle as well. All right, guys, we're at number 33. It's a number 33 is mystery shopping and online mystery shopping, right? And so mystery shopping physically, what does mystery shopping mean? Guys, I actually did this for a little bit in college. It was a lot of fun. And so you kind of go in, you don't necessarily need to, I mean, if they don't know you, you don't have to go into disguise, but companies are always checking on quality assurance, right? Are they, if it's a franchise, are they sticking to the laws of the franchise? Customer service, testing that. It could be the local company that does that, the local store general manager. It could be corporate that does it as well. And so even with COVID happening, companies are still wanting to make sure that the brand is protected and the customer experience is there. And so they hire people to go in, ask specific questions, maybe buy certain product, and then that person then completes a survey and answers all these questions about their experience. I think even now what you're seeing a lot is like a lot of companies are starting to use mystery shoppers physically and online to test like their kind of their like discrimination, right? And so like that, because that shit is real right now, and report back to them. I've also seen companies like send in a white person and then send in a black person, or send in a man and then send in a woman to see if the man got a more favorable response than the woman. A lot of financial institutions, people are sending in not personal shopping, but mystery shoppers to do those same things. But those people get paid. And so not only do you get paid, but whatever product that you buy, you also get to keep. So it's kind of like a double whammy, right? And so a lot of people will actually stack on doing a bunch of these and working for a bunch of different mystery shopping companies all at the same time. I did it in college. I thought it was a lot of fun. And some of the companies, some of the places I went to, I would have to go multiple times. So I was trying to like change up my look or whatever. But the reporting part is the part that sucks, right? Because sometimes the transaction may be all of 2 minutes that you go in, but then the report takes you an hour to put together. I don't know if things have changed because that's been at least, I don't know, 15, 16 years since I've done one. But online is the same thing, right? And so they look for online secret shoppers as well in order to kind of test the user experience or make or customer experience or whatever. And so that's something you can think about. Some personal shop, I keep saying personal shopping, mystery shopping doesn't pay a lot of money, you know, and so you need to do a bunch of these. You need to sign up with a bunch of companies. At least that's what it was 15 years ago. Maybe the game has changed and like you get a nice bag from doing this. I don't know. But back then, from my personal experience, that's what it was. One thing that I would say before I move on to number 34 is that there are a lot of companies that try and charge you to be a mystery shopper. And then again, this is also my experience 15 years ago. Stay away from those. You shouldn't have to pay to then get paid, right? And so keep that in mind if that's something that you're looking to explore. All right, number 34. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. If you happen to be a notary and you can offer your services as on a mobile basis or at your primary place of business, notaries are constantly in need, particularly in fields such as banking, real estate, and law. And you can charge by the visit or the document, which provides you with a lot of flexibility. And so I use a mobile notary. I think back in January or something. I was home with the kids, and I'm like, I can't pack these two kids up and leave to go get this document notarized. And I actually went on Yelp. Actually, I think I Googled mobile notary, and then I clicked on the link to Yelp, and then like a bunch of them popped up, and I picked this lady, and I think for $35, she came to my house, notarized the thing really quickly, and it was like done all in like 5 minutes, right? And so they, again, solving a problem for me was just like, I don't want to pack up the kids in order to like go find someone, and the convenience of maybe paying a little bit more than what I would usually pay, just it outweighed like the inconvenience of having to get them out of the house and kind of do all this stuff. And so again, right, solving a problem for people, convenience is something that you can charge extra for. And there's some people, again, I'll try and find the guy's name, but there's some people that run courses that teach people about like the mobile notary business. I think specifically on like how to find leads. But then I've also seen people charge anywhere from 35 like upwards to a few $100s depending on like what the real estate deal is and like all of these different things. And so know that that is lucrative for some people. I think I can't remember the name of the guy's company. It's Saturday, y'all. Like I'm losing like everything, but I think he was featured in Black Enterprise, black guy that built like a $1 million mobile notary business. And so know that that is possible, right? And so look it up. I don't know too much about it other than I've used the mobile notary and it really just helped me out tremendously. And so it's definitely something that's there. All right, guys, online English teaching. I think this is self-explanatory. You see the ads all the time. There are quite a few websites that are out there. I have them listed here. I'm going to read directly from here so that you guys can see what it's talking about. But I've had friends that have also been online English teachers that have gotten some good side money from doing this. English speaking skills are very sought after worldwide as they provide individuals with a lot of new career opportunities. Sites like VIP Kid or VIP Kids, y'all gotta correct me on that one, pays up to $22 an hour. Skype serves as a reliable and easy to use platform for offering English tutoring skills to kids and students, whether it's youth or adults anywhere on the planet. And you'll be able to feel comfortable with your teaching of English, right? They do some testing. I think there's some certifications that you need to have or they help you get them. And so here are some websites that from ladder.com that talked about where you can find if you want to do online English teaching. Kegg.com, CHEGG.com has various topics. So not just for teaching English, but then also calculus, biology, and like all these things. It says, as of the time that this was published, it says that they pay $20 an hour. Brainfuse, and so home.brainfuse.com offers English teaching. They pay between $10 to $15 an hour. Tutor.com, you must be considered an expert in the subject. According to what ladder.com posted, they pay between $9 and $13 an hour. Schooly, spelled SKOOLI, K through 12 courses as well as college level, they pay around $25 an hour. Yep.com and YUP.com, primarily math and science, pays between $10 to $13 an hour. and then tutorme.com. And so this is one, resources for number 35 with English teaching, and then two, going back to whatever number that was about being, number 19, being an online tutor. These are some great resources for you to be able to check out. And so tutorme.com has over 300 topics that they offer, including ACT and GRE tutoring, and pays around $16 an hour. All right, guys, next up, virtual assistants, right? And so I think this is also a self-explanatory. There are a lot of VAs. I think people are familiar with them. Instead of having someone physically be your assistant or personal assistant, they help you get everything that could possibly be done for you online. Saves you a ton of time, a ton of misery as well, especially when you find the right virtual assistant. And so I have used virtual assistants for years. I've used multiple virtual assistants. I've used an executive virtual assistant. They've all saved my life in so many different ways, so that I can show up and people think that they're like, I have 20 clones and it's me and a great, great army of our team and our staff of a lot of virtual assistants doing stuff, research, booking travel, creating documents, editing things, like booking things, buying things, everything you could possibly think of. And so virtual assistants are very sought after in today's digital workplace. Many VAs do anything from managing your calendar to posting products on an e-commerce website, plan your kid's birthday party. That has happened for me before. Sending emails, typing, and performing a range of other miscellaneous tech tasks. All you need is a device and some availability. And so, guys, I think one of the easiest ways, and so I don't know if Romaine is still on here, but Google Romaine Palmer. I think she's one of the best in the game. I personally think she's the best in the game, right? Like, and she teaches a course, and I think it's a really pretty affordable course for someone that wants to get into the virtual assistant business. She teaches a phenomenal. I've never taken the course, but I have been like her client. I was her client for 3 years. She's phenomenal. So I can only imagine if she is whipping people into shape in this course. That is a course well worth its money, especially if you want to become a virtual assistant. And so her course, I'm sure there's other courses out there, but if this is what you want to do at number 36, virtual assistant, just Google her. I think she has a ton of content on social as well, so that you can get a vibe for what she is. But there's also some other websites that you can advertise your virtual assistant service. So Fancy Hands that I keep mentioning to you guys, Zirtual, Zirtual, Flex Jobs, and remote.com, guru.com. People advertise their virtual assistant services on Fiverr as well. And so you have some options. All right. And so I actually have Romaine listed in our ebook. And so her website is RomaineBrownPalmer.com/virtual assistant course. Check that out, y'all, if this is something that y'all want to do. But virtual assistants can work from anywhere, right? And so kind of that remote life that a lot of people try to attain, that we're all living in right now. And if you want to be a virtual assistant and be able to work on projects for people, make phone calls, assist them, help them live their best life, then this is something for you to think about. All right, guys, number 37. All right, online surveys. So online surveys kind of go back to like what I was talking about the personal shoppers in a way. So there's all these companies that need data and they need assistance, and you can provide that to them in the form of online surveys. And so you find the surveys, there's all these different platforms that you can use in order to put yourself into the marketplace, and you complete these surveys for them on a number of different things, whether you are serving as like their online focus group or answering questions about your buying habits or the things that you do or how you show up every day and your personal lived experiences. You can make a decent amount of money doing online surveys. A lot of them don't pay a lot of money, and so you're going to need to kind of commit to every day doing quite a few of them in order for it to really have like a financial impact for you. But some of them pay a lot, right? And so I've seen like focus group advertisements for $150 to $300 sometimes randomly on the internet. It is also something that I did when I was in college. I did a lot of really unique ways of how I made money in college, but I remember doing a few focus groups that paid like $150 or $200 and just be there and kind of answering questions. It was a good chunk of money back like when gas was, I don't know, $1.25 or something like that. And so Online surveys are different because now you don't physically have to leave your home, but you're able to still make some money by completing these surveys. I think the other thing to think about is like, also, can you create these surveys for companies? A lot of people use Google Forms and stuff like that, but if they need more sophisticated, more robust survey done, and you have that experience, that's also something that you can offer, right? So kind of a pivot to just completing them is also being able to create them. All right, number 38, really self-explanatory, guys. I'm not even going to spend a bunch of time on this because we know graphic designers, logo designers can kind of work from anywhere. It's largely remote. There's a ton of resources, again, where you can be able to find leads, right? And so one is just directly reaching out to companies. Two is using a lot of the platforms that we've already talked about in this training. And so logo design, pitch decks, anything under the sun, y'all know this. I think having a good experience in Photoshop and Illustrator is well worth its money of training, that if you're looking to do this. The one thing that I would say that I know they get a lot of like bad rap, and I'm in some marketing Facebook groups that just hate people that are Canva designers, but like, yo, you can launch a serious like low tech Canva design business. A lot of people use it. A lot of people create workbooks that need updating and all this stuff. Don't let these people shame you because you don't have a degree in graphic design and you don't know how to do Photoshop and Illustrator. A lot of businesses don't need that. And if they do, they know that they'll hire someone else to be able to do that. But if you can advertise yourself as a Canva designer and you know you're really good at that, you can do really well, man. Don't let these people shame you. You can be a master Canva designer and make a really lucrative some money doing this. And if you are a really good Canva designer, please hit me up because I'm always on the look out for someone that can just quickly do some stuff to the things that we have, that we created. All right, guys, personal chef, also pretty self-explanatory. JC said, I'm telling my age. I'm 37. I'm 37. I'm proud to be 37. Telling your age at $1.25 a gallon, right? That's when your parents used to give you $20 and it really lasted. $10 in the tank, $3 to get into the movies. Your McDonald's meal was $1.99 and you still have money left over. Those were the good old days. $20 can't even get you from home to the gas station these days. Craziness. All right, personal chefs, really self-explanatory as well. But if you're a whiz in the kitchen and you think of busy healthcare professionals, right? Busy CEOs, busy moms, like all of these things, either preparing the meals and then delivering it to them, or, you'd be surprised the amount of people that still invite people into their homes, even under COVID. And so being able to come into their home and cook, maybe they're hosting a small social distancing, like dinner party or something like that, and you can still come in and cook. Like, don't stop doing the thing that you were doing before. Just realize the mechanism in which you do it, the process in which you do it may be different. Advertising that you're safe, that you're going to wear a mask, you're going to wear gloves, like all of these things, I think, are things that we now have to start leading with, especially when we're talking about side hustles that require us to physically be somewhere. All right, virtual personal trainers, y'all know this as well. I think I don't know one personal trainer that has not pivoted to virtual. But I also, like, sometimes when I go walking in my neighborhood, I see people out kind of like by this little boardwalk, and they're still working personally with their with their personal trainers. And so virtual, I think it's easy. You can do it in group, you can do it one-on-one, you can use Zoom, you can do a private Facebook group. You do not have to overthink it and start offering this service. I think this is not going to go away. It's also nothing new. Even when I was traveling like crazy, like I tried to hire a person to do like virtual personal training for me when I was like traveling and stuff. It didn't end up working out, more me than them. But that's something that a lot of people do when they have their favorite personal trainer. They say, hey, can we also do some virtual sessions or virtual accountability sessions of just like you checking on me and making sure that I'm like working out or eating like the right thing. Like, get on FaceTime and show me your meal, like all that stuff. Anyways, all right, guys. Virtual professional organizer, also something that's self-explanatory. I think it's just another pivot to someone that is usually helping organize. A lot can be done through Zoom and FaceTime, and like all of these different things that prior to COVID, people were not putting a high value on them. And that's unfortunate, but moving in this new normal, it is now becoming the norm. And as long as I'm still getting the same service, right, whether you're physically with me or not, may not necessarily be of any concern. Like I could hire a personal organizer to sit on this computer if I needed to. I can stand in front of my closet and they can tell me where I need, what I need to throw out and what I need to keep, right? Like what brings me joy, right? All of that. If you need someone physically to like to be there and be that voice, you can be that voice for people, right? I think if you practice safety as well, you can still go into people's homes and businesses and do that. I think this is a home improvement stuff has really crazily taken off, right? Like it's been insane. Why? Because people are home more than they've ever been. And so they're trying to declutter their spaces. They're trying to revamp their spaces, paint stuff, fix stuff, all of that. And so know that that service as an organizer did not go away, but there's a possibility for you to get creative and do that online. Guys, we're coming down to the tail end of this list, 65 side hustles that you can launch this weekend in these crazy, crazy, crazy COVID times. Tanya, yes, this is it's recording. And so you just come back to my Facebook page when this is done and you can access it. Also, if you guys are interested, we have the COVID Side Hustle Academy. That's where this book and this list actually came from. It's completely free. This video will actually also be in that course, along with like 10 other dope instructors that we were teaching people on like how to build their side hustle, how to grow it, how to market it, how to find their products, their team, like all of that. And so this recording is a part of that. And so you can also sign for that. So if you go to blacktechweek.com, it's the first tab, or you go to go to that website. This is the first tab, and then you can sign up and you get full access to the training and all the recordings, including this one. All right, vending machines. Again, nothing new from COVID, right, or pre-COVID, but it's a way for people to get things that they need and also pseudo practice social distancing, right? And so, or health habits. And so I would say the play for vending machines, which has always been the play, but I think something more now, because you can find vending machines relatively cheap on Craigslist. I was actually heavily looking into this. One, when we were running Feverish Pops, because they're frozen vending machines. But then as of late, because I'm trying to turn my 6-year-old into an entrepreneur, because she loves going to Target. She like loves going to Target. And sorry guys, I end up looking here and I need to be looking here. She loves going to Target and like a crazy obsession with Target. Why? Because Toys R Us doesn't exist anymore. Anyways. And so I'm trying to teach her like, hey, there are things you can do around the house. There's some small businesses that we can start. I think, when she turns 7 or 8, it'll really stick home. But anyways, I was looking at vending machines a few months back because I was thinking of buying one for her and my son, and then kind of teaching them how to replenish things, and then they get to use money to do whatever. And so still entertaining that idea. Why am I on this tangent? Why? Because location, right? And so if you're going to invest in a vending machine, and you can often find them for like a few $100 or even less, if you don't mind doing some upkeep to them on Craigslist. On eBay, there's a lot of resellers of these vending machines. And anyway, so location is going to be the big thing. Where are high traffic locations? Hospitals are still high traffic locations for this, right? Even under COVID. Zoos, if they're still open, because it's kind of an open area, people are kind of flocking to theme parks and places where they can still get their kids to run around and experience something, but then also practice like safe social distancing as well. And so if you happen upon a really high traffic location, again, guys, then this is something that I think could be a pretty decent side hustle for you. And then vending machines, gumball machines, all of that are some possibilities. All right, guys, proofreader. And so we talked about writers and freelance writers and ghostwriters earlier. Proofreaders are also someone or something, or a really good side hustle that you can promote and advertise. Very low barrier to entry. being able to showcase like the work that you do, maybe some testimonials from some people that you've worked with in the past is a great way for you to create a side hustle around proofreading, right? Very easy. A lot of the websites that I've already mentioned in our time together are also resources that you can use to advertise your services. I have hired proofreaders on Upwork and also Fiverr. And so those are, I think, just really great resources and really quick marketplaces. Again, you start on those marketplaces to build up. Imagine like if I'm someone who's hiring a proofreader and I write all the time, if I find someone on Fiverr relatively cheap and they do a good job, I'm going to want to work with them again. And so inviting them to work with you offline and then charging them more, or maybe charging them a monthly retainer to read a certain amount of their documents or their articles or their book or whatever is the bigger play to this, right? So you start small with these platforms just to introduce yourself, get some good reviews, and then invite them offline, right? Okay, modeling, hey, right? People have always made money doing this. It's a side hustle as well. As much as we think that the world has closed, it has not, right? So people still need to sell products, whether you're a hand model, a foot model, a hair model, a lip model, like whatever. But a lot of this can be done online, right? And so brands heavily use social media to promote their things. We'll talk about influencers in just a bit. We're almost getting to the end of this list. I have enjoyed this time with you guys and answering your questions that you guys have. But modeling is something that you can do, right? And so if you have good camera, good lighting, you can receive product, you can model the product, you can still go out into studios, practicing social distancing. People are still doing all of that because they still have to sell product. I laugh because when COVID first started, downstairs, I'm pointing downstairs, I know y'all can't see it, but downstairs, there was like a full on Lamborghini photo shoot. And I was just like, of course, Miami, like, of course. But anyways, number 44. Number 45, property management. People still need that. You have to think like, the snowbirds aren't coming to South Florida, depending on where you live, right? But in South Florida, we have snowbirds. They're not coming here, right? Because of COVID and not wanting to travel or whatever. Someone still needs to manage their property, their second home, their third home or whatever. Airbnb property management is a huge thing that didn't really exist 5, 6, 7 years ago. And people that have multiple Airbnbs need someone to manage those properties, manage the bookings and all of those things. And so that's a possibility as well. There's online virtual, like there's all this kind of stuff. And so number 45, property management. Number 46 is my jam, right? Y'all know that I am a paid speaker. I travel when outside was open. I traveled around all over the place delivering my message because I'm a solutions-driven communicator. And so if you were a speaker before, know that you can still be a speaker now. You just had to switch to virtual. Some people could do this switch, some people could not do this switch, right? And so number 46 is a virtual motivational speaker or workshop facilitator. People are still running virtual conferences, virtual summits, team meetings, team building meetings, a lot over the past 4 weeks, diversity and inclusion sessions. These are all places that either you come in and you speak to get the experience, but they're also paying people to speak, right? And so you can be a paid virtual speaker. Whatever your rates were before, they don't have to change that much. You probably minus your travel. I talk all about this in a course that I run called Pivot, Pitch, and Paid. So check that out if you want to. But number 46 is a virtual workshop speaker. And so this is a great time to get your feet wet, to speak at some virtual conferences, get some good logos on your speaker deck, perfect all that stuff. But people are still being paid to deliver their message, deliver their transformation, solve their problems, deliver their keynotes, their workshops, their master classes virtually, and get paid to do so. And so if you want more information about that, guys, y'all know where to find me. I'm happy to send you the link to my course or my group, but that is number 46. All right, number 47, rain gutter cleaning. And so that's all kind of lawn stuff that falls underneath this, right? And so whether it's cleaning people's gutters, whether it's taking care of like their lawns, whether it's pressure washing, whether it's junk removal, like all of those things are things that you can do as a side hustle as well that you can ultimately start this weekend. Rain gutter cleaning. I've never cleaned a gutter before, but I don't think it requires that much. And so it's a pretty low barrier to entry. And so pretty much all 65 plus ideas that I included in there, for the most part, have a very low barrier to entry. I don't want people to overthink this stuff. It does not require you to overthink. It requires you to act. If you are trying to put your own mask on and create your own PPP, your own paycheck protection program, then look at these, get inspired, get the wheels turning, and then it needs to turn into action. You cannot expect results from work that you have not done. Let me say that again. You cannot expect results from work that you have not done. And so if you want to do the down and dirty rain gutter cleaning and all that stuff, then do that. I have a cousin in Atlanta who actually, Nick Brown, and I'm lucky something is the name of his company. Nick, don't kill me if you're watching this. Anyways, he recently just started a company, right? He does pressure washing of homes and lawn services and junk removal. And he's just like, this is my side hustle, but I feel really confident that it's going to turn into my full hustle, because what I make in two or 3 days is what it takes me an entire week or 2 weeks. I forgot what he said, at his current job, right? And so side hustles have the ability to do that, but none of that happens if you don't move and you don't act on your idea in this moment where life is fleeting, right? You cannot sit on your ideas. The world does not have time for that. The world wants you to show up and solve problems and unleash your badassery like ever before. All right, guys, virtual companion and in-person companion, right? I think elder care, I think childcare, I think doing anything that allows people to just get some companionship. There are a lot of people that are home and alone that will happily pay for a service or something just to have a conversation with some other people. Maybe it's an older person, right? And so you saw this a lot, not just with people with elder people in nursing homes, but families would pay for someone to just kind of keep them company, maybe play cards with them, maybe do a project or something like that. That still can be done virtually as well. And so think about that if that's something that you want to do, being able to start advertising those services. Google that. That is not my wheelhouse yet, guys, but it's something that you can consider for number 48. Rent your crap, right? And so if you're looking to make some extra money, you can rent your stuff, rent your bikes, rent your trailers, rent your scooters. One of the things that I've seen a lot, right? I live close to the Bay here in Miami, is I don't even know what those things are called. So if y'all know what the thing is called, please tell me. But I guess they're called canoes, right? But they're like the plastic canoes or the plastic tubes. I'm looking outside because one of my neighbors across has one. And I saw them at Walmart. I think they sell for like $300 out at Walmart. I saw one like a month ago. I was like, oh my God, is that what those things cost? Because I see people just wanting to be in the water, whether the beach is closed or whatever, the bay was open. And so people were buying these things. But like once you buy them, once you use them once or twice, if you're going to spend that money because you want to just be able to use it every now and then, why not make money off of it instead of it sitting like on your balcony, like my neighbors is right now, every single day? So even if you rent it for $10 a day or $30 a day or whatever, or $100 a day, you rent that thing for $100 a day for 30 days, you do the math, that adds up really fast. That is like however many times the amount that you actually spent on it. But people aren't going out into the bay and canoeing every single day, and you aren't either. And so you can rent your crap, right? And so there's all these different things that you could rent. There's also websites like Turbo that allows you to rent your car. And so if you're not using your car, like my husband has not driven his car, maybe driven his car 5 times since all of COVID has happened. We should put that thing on Turbo, right? And let other people rent it. He doesn't want to do that, but that's a possibility, right? We primarily just use my car. Why? Because we're both not out in the streets. We're both working from home. And so there are things that you can rent. You can rent your bicycle. The possibilities are endless if you want to use that as a side hustle. And then everything else under the sun, if you have industry equipment that people want to use, if you have lawn equipment and there's a young person that wants to start like a lawn service business or whatever, can you rent them the equipment? Can you profit share or something like that? You got options. All right, LinkedIn profile and resume writer. I'm in a few mastermind groups that are fantastic, really great, high performing like women, like all of that stuff. And one thing that I constantly see in some of the groups that I'm in is just like, I need someone to rewrite my LinkedIn profile, someone that's great with words, a copywriter that is going to really help me kind of stand out. Same thing with people that are a lot of people are transitioning. They may have not had to update their resume in years. If you got the gift of gab and your writing is bar none, then you can launch a LinkedIn profile or resume writing business. I once talked to this lady. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Um, I once talked to this lady about her LinkedIn profile. And I mean, she was doing LinkedIn profile like revamp, but then LinkedIn management, and her package was $3,500. I was like, oh my God, that's insane, right? And I was just like, I don't ever question people's prices when they can also show the value and like their receipts, right? Of like how whatever they've done has been transformational. She couldn't provide any of that. So I was like, that's an exorbitant amount of money for someone that can't tell me past experience, testimony. Like, but anyways, but just know that people are out here in these streets charging a premium for that. Why? Because LinkedIn is a professional place to do business, and a lot of people make a lot of money, and they need their LinkedIn profiles to be professional and succinct and say exactly who they are, what they do, and how they add value. If you can communicate in that style, number 50 could be a side hustle for you. All right, get crafty. Number 51. If you listen, anyone on here that does slime workshops, my daughter would love you and sign me up, right? And so I hate making slime. I am still trying to figure out how slime became this multi-million-dollar business where they have slime conferences. And like, I still don't get it, but it's here. When I was a kid, all we wanted to do was get slimed at Nickelodeon. We never actually wanted to make the slime. We bought the slime, but like, anyways. And so if getting crafty is your thing, you can sell kits to families, right? You can sell kits to families. You can do online, like whatever, crafting, whatever. Like you got some options. But I think selling kits to preschools and daycares, to summer camps, to virtual summer camps, you have some options and some really lucrative options in doing that. Being able to put the thing together so that like parents don't have to scramble, or kids or adults don't have to scramble in order to find these things, and it just comes to their home, or they can easily just pick it up from you, I think is brilliant. I think one of the things that I thought was really cool that I saw come out of COVID is like nail techs. And I think I talked about nail techs in a bit, but like nail techs were selling like do it yourself, like home kits. It had everything that you needed to get like a new gel polish or whatever. People are buying these things and then going home and like occupying their time and their mind by doing these things. Like, why not like think outside the box and have some fun with it? Social media manager, guys, pretty self-explanatory. They manage people's social media and they charge for it. Social media manager, like, I don't know what, 6-7 years ago, was a job that did not even, maybe a little bit longer than that, but like it was a job that did not even exist in companies. And every major company you can possibly think of has a social media manager. It's making oftentimes upward of 45,000 and up. And so, guys, listen, this could be something very lucrative from you that you can also do at home if social media is your jam, helping people increase their engagement, manage their Facebook groups, their Slack groups, like all of these things. It could be really, really lucrative for you. Very easy to find these opportunities online. People are always looking. Search the hashtags. I think even if you go, this is a chess move that I think a lot of people don't make when they want to launch side hustles or get contracts for their business. If you go on LinkedIn or any website that is promoting a job opportunity, and so say the job is social media manager, why not go on that website, find that person's contact information, and pitch to them for you to do that thing as a contract, as opposed to working for them as an employee. As a contractor, it actually is less because they don't have to pay like, any of the employment benefits and things like that. They don't have to give you office space. They probably don't have to give you your equipment. Like, there is a sales value there that you can have around those conversations. And I don't see a lot of people doing that. A lot of companies are always making this, do I need this person as a contractor, or do I need this person as an employee? And if you see there's a listing for 500 social media managers, when you type it in on LinkedIn or Indeed.com, pitch them as you managing that as your own social media like agency. Does not require too much. All right, holiday cards, thank you notes, writing services. There's a bunch of websites that do this already. Like you just pay, a certain amount per month or per card. They'll do the handwriting and mailing out for you. You don't even have to touch this stuff. That means that you can do it too individually, right? And so holiday cards, thank you notes, writing services. It's actually a pretty lucrative business. There's a website, I don't know, someone sent me something recently, and when I turned the card on the back, it like had the website. When I went on there, it's like, it was like an automated like mail out service. So you're just like, oh my God, this is such an enchanting like gift. Like they took the time to handwrite this, and then I realized that they paid someone to handwrite it, which I don't care because it was still something that I got in the mail, and we hardly get things in the mail anymore, and that becomes such an enchanting experience. And so know that again, everything could be outsourced, and writing thank you notes is one of those things. If you have really nice handwriting, that also goes a really long way, right? Maybe take a $10 calligraphy class on Udemy and then start this side hustle. Travel agents. I don't know who's traveling anymore, but people are still traveling. I live on like I guess what is it called, the airplane path to Miami airport. So the planes are still going, y'all. And so corporations, they still have people that have to travel. You think NGOs that still have people that are doing relief work that have to travel. Someone's still booking that travel. And so if you can carve out a really unique lane in this, I think about what almost kind of tell the future. Like, what do you think the future of travel is going to be? And start carving that out as a side hustle. That's a possibility. At minimum, old school side hustle of travel agent. People are still traveling some sort of way. I'm not. My brother has been on a plane. I've had some friends on a plane, but you can either do it yourself or you can get someone to do it for you. I found this random photo, y'all, so don't even like come crazy at me, but number 55 is mobile car ads. And so these things still work, right? Either on your car. These tires actually look really funny in this photo, but anyways, y'all don't go crazy on me. But mobile car ads are actually, I think they're picking up, right? And so what I've actually seen really take off, and I talked about it in some other presentation that I did, but a good friend of mine, Michael Connolly, he actually launched one of like those trucks that have like the ads on the side of the digital ads, and people again are reinventing the way that they celebrate graduations and weddings and birthday parties and bat mitzvahs and all this stuff. And they were doing, people are doing the parades, and then they're also renting a space like congratulations graduating high school, congratulations graduating college. And those are digital ads, mind you. So that means that they're not paying for anything to be printed, but the parents, or whoever, significant other, are paying for these ads to like drive down the street. Maybe it's promoting a product, but at minimum, it's just saying like happy birthday or congratulations or whatever. Just because we are at home and just because we're under quarantine, that doesn't mean that people aren't trying to celebrate everyday lived in life experiences. They are. They just have to find new and unique ways to do that. And if you can help them do that, you can charge for that. Mobile billboard trucks and cars, like I've seen so many people doing that because it's a cool surprise in a really shitty time, right? And people will pay for the cool surprise because they don't want their kids or their family members or significant others to seem like they've been forgotten, or they just want to put a smile. Like everyone is trying to put a smile on someone's face. Remember, I talked about that. I don't know, maybe a number one or number two, about people will pay for moments of joy in this moment. And so whether you're advertising with your mobile car ad, with a car wrap or whatever, that's always been a way to do stuff. But then thinking about using, car ads and stuff like that as a moment of joy, it unlocks a group of people that can be very lucrative for you. Where prior to COVID, parents weren't doing that. They were renting a hall, space or whatever, and they were having a party. Now they are doing mobile car ads, and they're doing the electronic truck ads and stuff like that in order to celebrate moments. Voiceover acting. Fiverr.com, guys, really quick. It's a great way to advertise like your voiceover stuff that you do. Hold on, I'm trying to get to it because I think I have, Yeah. All right. So Fiverr is the one that I put on here. There's a bunch you can Google as well. I forgot to tell you guys when I was talking about transcribing services, rev.com is also a really great service. They have the AI portion of it, but they still use regular people to do transcribing, that they pay for them to do that as well. And so think commercials, guys. Commercials are still running. People that are launching podcasts, they're usually hiring a voiceover person to do the intro and the outro. You know, a quick way to be able to find, aside from using Fiverr and probably some of these other platforms, start listening to some podcasts. And if they don't have an intro or their intro sucks, shoot your shot. Say like, hey, I think you can have much more people tuning into this if you worked on this, and I can actually re-record this for you. Or your audio sucks, right? Like whatever you need to say to them, your audio sucks, like I can do this for you better. And then of course having the right equipment. So there is an investment that you'll have to do for this. But videos, right? YouTube channels, podcasts, TV shows, even courses, right? And so I don't see a lot of people advertising voiceover services for courses. Info, what are they called? The infographics or the explainer videos, those all require a voiceover person. I've hired voiceover people on Fiverr. I think the last thing I did for like a client last year or a year before, I was helping them with something, and I think we paid like the voiceover person $150 to record, I don't know, for a 2-minute video, right? A 2-minute video reading a script that we had to provide $150. And then it goes upwards of there. And so that's number 56. Number 57, virtual recreational sports coaching. Summer camp, virtual summer camps. They still need people to get active. People that are still training for, I don't know, the Olympics and the NBA, like all of that stuff. Parents wanting their kids to just be active. You know, hey, if I have a backyard and a hoop or whatever, and I can watch you on my phone and you can kind of coach me in perfecting my shot or whatever, that's something that parents will pay for, right? Stop thinking that people don't have the money to pay for these things. They do. And if it means you know, providing a moment for your kid to get physically fit or physically active, and it's going to make your kid happy, and it's going to keep a sense of like stability during a really rough time, parents always sacrifice for this stuff. There's a sacrifice of it. And then also, like I said before, stop counting other people's pockets. Like they will also pay for this. And so if you were someone that was a sports coach, like outside, right, you can also do this virtually, just as personal trainers are doing these things virtually. As a sports coach, you can do this virtually too. I have a good friend, James, who runs a company called Pro at Your Door, and they provide this exact same service. They take star college players and star like former professional athletes, and then they provide this virtual training service, and they pay a premium for it. A premium. Y'all go Google it. Y'all can see what the premium rate is. All right, and so web designer is pretty self-explanatory. This I think has not largely been affected by COVID, right? And so if you were designing websites before COVID, you can keep designing websites afterwards. If you have the skill, or if you want to learn the skill, like there's a bunch of tutorials on YouTube that can teach you how to do this. There are a bunch of people on a bunch of courses you can take that can help perfect your web design skills. And the web designers run the gamut, right? From someone that can set up like a quick Shopify or Squarespace or Wix site, all the way to people that are much more advanced, right? And so that is also something that is at number 58 as a web designer. Blogging. Number 59 is blogging. Excuse me, blogging can actually be quite profitable if you do it the right way, right? And if you commit to doing it the right way and being consistent. I think some of the quick plays as a side hustle that can actually make you money and not spend years of creating content before it actually becomes fruitful for you is thinking through creating branded content, maybe guest blogging for other blogs where they pay you a fee to write content for them. Of course, developing your own thing as well. My good friend and business partner, Stark Smith, he started a blog called The Hungry Black Man that showcases and tells the authentic stories of Black food in the culinary space. And, I think, I don't know, has it been 3 years? Has it been 3 years? It might be 3 years, but maybe a little longer. I don't know. But it's a really lucrative blog with a massive following. And so look for other bloggers that can share stories with you. I think there's a ton of content. Blogging is not new, but I think now being home and kind of being centered and quiet, a lot of people are kind of turning to figuring out how to write, and then trying to figure out how to monetize like their blogging efforts. And so I have a few blogs. My personal blog is nointro.blog. So you can definitely check that out. I've been paid, to do some guest blogging before. I have been paid to do branded content and sharing things that authentically make sense to me. And that's without me even trying, right? And so if you decide to do this as a side hustle, know that there's opportunities for you to be able to make some money. I think a lot of bloggers now actually make money in all these ancillary areas that the blog either leads to or kind of supports. So also think about it that way. All right, guys, pretty self-explanatory as well. Number 60 is bookkeeping and accounting. This does not need to be done physically. It can be done virtually. And there are quite a few platforms, if you Google them, that allow you to kind of have a marketplace to advertise your bookkeeping and accounting services. Again, I'm going to lean back towards you did me, Upwork, and then randomly Fiverr as well, right? But again, if you're going on those websites, Upwork is a little strict about that, right? Like if you meet someone and you connect and you start working with them, I think you almost have to buy yourself out of the contract now in order to take the relationship offline. Fiverr is not that strict, y'all. And so a lot of people do a lot of business. But I think let me say this. One of the big things right now is that there are a lot of companies, small businesses that were not able to get access to the government relief programs because their back end was fogged up, right? Not in place. They did not have the documents. And so you can provide that service, right? I don't know what the full extent of the service is because we have our own accountant that did all of that. But what if there's a way to package that service, even if it's just helping the businesses go through the application process, and that is all that you do, and you kind of carved out that niche, then you can do that, right? A lot of accountants are doing that. Like for a certain fee, then we would, do the accounting and apply for you and then find the right financial institutions that are not going to give you the runaround and the BS. Like our accountant did that for us. And so that's a service that you can provide. And then after that, talk about ongoing service and put a retainer together. And so if you have that skill set, like COVID closing, your office closing, being laid off or furloughed should not be to the detriment of you being able to live and thrive. This is a skill that small businesses need. Even if you start saying, I'm going to Google or I'm going to hashtag, or, for everyone business that I Google and they mention that they did not get approved, or reach out to them and shoot your shot and say, hey, I can clean up your books for you. I can put your right systems in place. And so that if you are in this situation again, you will be able to take full advantage of it. I think even also looking at organizations that support small businesses and entrepreneurs and say, hey, give me a contract and I will go work with 10 or 20 of your businesses and get all of their stuff together so that they can then unlock that money. I think there's all these possibilities that are here that you can unlock if you have that bookkeeping and accounting experience. All right, guys. Influencers and ambassadors, right? We are almost down to the wire on this list, y'all. I'm on the last page of these notes in our ebook. Number 61, brand ambassadors are often sought after, especially if they have huge followings. Influencers as well. We all know who these people are. We see them all the time, right? And oftentimes, whether it's liquor companies, food companies, products, or whatever, you can actually make some money as an influencer. I think what has happened in the past 2 years is that people stop looking at like the large numbers, and they start looking at engagement, and then they start valuing micro influencers much more. So what are micro influencers and why does that matter to you? Micro influencers I think they have like less than 10,000 followers. Their engagement is usually high, and they're usually connected to a really strong tribe or group that when they promote a product or they promote a message or whatever, that group actually moves. And so it may not be, Kim Kardashian level and thousands upon thousands or millions upon millions of people are going to buy that thing when they promote it, but 100 people will, or 50 people will, or a few hundred people will. And that is still transformational for getting the awareness out or the product being sold. And so know that you can position yourself as that, as a brand ambassador, and then, or an influencer. And then there's all these sites that you can go to as well that are kind of like marketplaces for influencers and how they connect. Jr. Rivera teaches a really great course. Like, I think it's called 10x your social media. Don't kill me, Jr. And it's a really, really great course. But he is a really sought after influencer as well, and he teaches people how to do that. I've done some influencer work over the years. I get them from time to time. I don't really seek them out. People kind of seek me out, but they're also brands that I connect with and I vibe with. Whether it's some stuff for my kids, like Nickelodeon stuff and movie stuff. We did something with Netflix, but since COVID happened, I've been getting a lot of those emails coming our way, and so that's a cool experience, and it's great money. You know, you can be paid per post, paid per video. Like, you get some options out there, but that stuff can quickly add up. All right, and so hey Kamali, hey Ebony, hey Sheila, hey Tony, hey Elizabeth. JC said, I like that. My bro Jules Nelson does that. PEX games. Okay, about the sports. Gold Fleet Global Running Back Academy and Mamba Academy. Okay, cool. All right, guys. So that's influencers. Car flipping, pretty self-explanatory. Like, if you got a car and you're not really going out in these streets these days, you can sell your car, right? Or you can sell other people's cars. I've seen people work as like car brokers, I think it's called, right? And you don't actually own the car, right? But you can serve as a person that helps sell the car, and then you can get a percentage. I think there's a license that's in there somewhere, so definitely check the laws on that. But that is also a way to create a side hustle and be able to make some money. Mobile mechanic. Again, guys, remember we were talking earlier about convenience and being able to bring things to people, and being able to charge a premium for that. And so I think a mobile mechanic is nothing new. I think oftentimes it's just like, hey, we know this person and they'll come to our house, and we don't really think of it as like a real lucrative side hustle. It's just this person that will know, give us a tune up, check the thing out or whatever, as opposed to sending it to an actual mechanic shop. But this is something that you can charge a premium on, a concierge service. You know, it doesn't need to be towed, like all of that stuff. You can come and do that. Mobile car washing is also the exact same thing. I talk about that in just a bit. So cleaning and deep cleaning and organizing services. Guys, people are still getting their houses cleaned. I think now more than ever, when they have to sit there every single day, they're using up dishes, they're using up clothes, like all of that. And so, and then they've been in their homes, so they're using their homes more than you had been before. Remember when outside was open, and if you went into an office, you were there for 8 to 10 hours a day. And so by the time you came home, all you did was eat and sleep, and and then you did the same thing the next day, 5 days a week. And so people were, I think it's the craziest thing. Like, you'll buy these really nice homes or rent these really nice homes or whatever, and only be able to actually enjoy it for a fraction of your day every single day for 30 to 40 years. Insane, right? And so now that people are home 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, not only are they wanting maintenance things to be done, but they're now saying like, holy crap, like I need a deep clean of my house. Either before COVID and leading into COVID, or now that they've been in it for a while, their kids are making a mess, parents are stressed out, people are stressed out. And so that is a service that you can offer, and also charge a premium on it. Girl, my Aunt Anne Marie, mine does too, because listen, right? Like, I need the help and need the support. And so I think advertising, the real play around COVID is also letting them know, as when you're selling yourself on your website, that you're going to wear a mask, gloves, you'll bring a change of shoes so that you're not tracking in anything, and you're going to sanitize the home to make it COVID free, are some really strong selling points that doesn't require you to pivot what you're doing. It protects you, and then it also gives them this extra sense. And maybe that's you buying some new cleaning equipment or anything like that, or requiring them to purchase their own equipment. That's when I use a lady, I don't know, I think back in January or whatever, she was just like, this is the mop that you need to buy. This is the broom that you need to buy. I don't take my stuff from house to house because it can easily track like germs and bacteria and all the stuff from one person's home to the next. Maybe that's a kit that you sell. So instead of telling them to buy it, say, hey, purchase this thing, you keep it here. Every time I come, I don't have to lug all this stuff here because you'll have a cleaning kit that I am sending to you. That could easily be another extra, maybe if it charges you, maybe it costs you 25 or 30 or $40 to get all that stuff, but you charge them $100 for the kit. You've made $70, plus then you have the ongoing like money from them, right? I think what I don't see a lot of cleaning people do is set up like monthly retainers or weekly retainers or whatever. That's also a play that I think should be done. And then there's all these websites that you can use to get started. And so Handy is one of those websites. I think TaskRabbit also it has a cleaning thing there, but uh, almost every person I've ever used off of Handy starts with one or two with us, and then they're just like, take my cell phone number, like let's just work together off the platform, and it becomes a great way for them to connect with customers that they much normally would not connect with, and then be able to provide them a deeper clean service, and then they get all the money that Handy charges as opposed to whatever the fraction is. And so if you were looking to do a cleaning service business, that is an option for you, and that is number 64. And then the other part of that, guys, is to also be thinking about businesses, right? Cleaning businesses, deep cleaning businesses. Nothing new under the sun, again, guys, but it's also this way for you to get into a business. And then at one point, there are all these, like, also think of like the Handy, right? Like using that kind of scheduling platform. Could you build that platform so that you don't physically have to clean anything yourselves, but you become the middle person, and like the trusted company or whatever that vets these people and sends them out to do business. And so you got quite a few options in a business that I think oftentimes people overlook, but can also be really, really, really lucrative. If you charge $100 per home and you do 4 homes, that's $400 a day. You add that up by 20 days a month, or however many days you want to work a month. I know a lot of people that run 6-figure cleaning businesses with them and a small crew, charging their rates and then just maximizing like their time. All right, guys, we're down to the last two, y'all. We're down to the last two. Oh, and Jay said that Jay Charles said that they can also use Thumbtack as well to find leads. All right, guys, I've enjoyed this Saturday with y'all, going through this stuff, answering your questions. Thanks for everyone for the recommendations as well. And then this is 65 plus side hustles that you can launch this weekend under these crazy COVID times. And so mobile car detailing, again, self-explanatory. It's bringing the car cleaning to the person. I think, like I said, in the other services, being able to lead with that you can sanitize and clean the car, COVID, bacteria, germ, virus free or whatever, is something that I've been seeing like physical car washing places advertise. But mind you, like I think one of the fears, if I go to a physical car wash place, and nothing wrong with them, but like are the cleaning materials or the rags and stuff, are they using that in every single car? And that could become the selling point for you. It's just like, hey, not only do I come to you, so there's a convenience, you don't have to leave your home, you don't have to go to this place, you don't have to be around people. I'm going to sanitize it. The materials that I use are only for your car, and then they're thrown away or whatever. It just, there's a value to that. There's a company called Washe. I don't know if they're everywhere, but I know that they're out throughout South Florida. That is like the Uber for that, right? And so just like Handy and a bunch of these places are kind of like the Uber for like cleaning people. And so you can track where they are, what time they're going to arrive. You can pay for them directly through the platform, tip them, rate them, like all of that stuff. Washe does the same thing. And so if you want to just kind of get your feet wet in the mobile car cleaning, detailing, whatever, you can use a platform like that, build up your customer base, and then take off and do your own thing. And so that is number 65. And guys, that is it. No, sorry. Right, one more. And so I put that one before that one. Hold on. Okay. All right. And so the last one, I put it like mobile anything concierge service because I keep talking about that. But in this photo, I found this random car, but it says what I needed to say, right? Which is uh, mobile nail technicians, mobile beauty services, mobile massage, like all of that. And again, these are high contact things that not everyone may want to do under COVID, but a lot of people are still doing it, right? I got the email from Glam Squad, and I've only used Glam Squad a few times when I travel because they can't do my hair, and I like gel nail polish, and they can't do that either. And they've done my makeup a few times when I've traveled to speak in some other cities, so I'm on their email list. And so they relaunch, right? And so they're still coming into people's homes and doing their makeup, doing their hair. A lot of his maintenance stuff, haircuts, nails, manicure, pedicures, whatever, hairstyling. And so that is still a need. People don't want to go into a busy nail salon, but that doesn't mean that they won't bring someone into their home. Maybe they bring them and you're going to do your services outside so that there's fresh air blowing and lessen the chance of catching COVID if the person has it or whatever. But you can also charge a premium for this. Like, I can't stress that you can charge a premium for concierge services. I can't stress, like, I sound like a broken record because I'm going to keep saying that over and over again. And why I keep saying that is because oftentimes when I have conversations with entrepreneurs, they feel that if they did not have a brick and mortar, that they did not in a lot of ways were like their companies weren't legit. And I'm like, listen, if Uber and Airbnb and like all these sharing platforms didn't teach you, that is not required anymore. Can you provide the service? Can you save me time? Time is the biggest commodity that people like. Time is the thing that we cannot ever get back. And so if you can save me time, that ultimately means that whatever I'm paying you, even if it's a premium, ends up helping me as a busy entrepreneur make more money. And so that is the thing that you need to think. Again, other people's pockets are not your concern, right? So you do not have to offer major discounts when you get started, which is a big pet peeve that I see people often do. You are not competing on price, you're competing on service, you're competing on convenience, and people will pay for convenience. If they don't want to pay for it, they think your prices are too high, you're either talking to the wrong person, right? Which is usually what happens 9 times out of 10, or they'll go somewhere else. I can buy a pot at Walmart or I can buy a pot at Surla Table, right? Like, it's still a pot. It's still gonna warm water, all the exact same thing. But there's a different kind of person that buys at Surla. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. Surla Table, and or Pier One, if Pier One is still open, and there's a different kind of person that purchases from Walmart. Not knocking Walmart, but there's a difference, right? That person wants aesthetic, they may want quality. These are things that are high value to them, but at the end of the day, you're solving a problem for the person. So for people that can't leave their homes, and so the nail salon, nail come to you person or whatever, the massage, but like, think everything under the sun that can be a concierge service that you can bring to people. Protect yourself under COVID, but I really want you to be thinking bigger and bolder about what the possibilities are to keep you like the money coming to you, you using your intellectual property, you using your skills in order to survive during COVID, but not just survive, but then ultimately end up thriving, right there. Like I said in the beginning, you are maybe that was tuning in, you may have lost your job and you're now trying to figure out, like, how do I keep the lights on and survive until I find a new job back in my field or the economy gets a little bit better. You may have been furloughed or laid off, right? You may say, hey, I still have my job, but just in case things go left, right, or my job quits me, like, I have enough saving amassed, because of the side hustle is making me money, right? Whether it's something that's evergreen, whether it's automated, or whether it's the thing that I do on the weekend. Or you know what, you say, I have my job and I have my business and things are doing okay, but I want to beef up my savings as much as I can, because just in case things get shaky, I'm good. I have a solid foundation. I have 6 months of saving. And so while you're still working, the side hustle is contributing into your savings account. And so a side hustle isn't just for the people that are unemployed or underemployed. It is also for people that are employed, or have a business that's doing well, and you want to make sure that you continue to do well even if things dip, right? Like those are kind of the three people that we're talking to through this course, through this training, as well, to just be thinking bigger, better. Maybe the side hustle is for your kid or a significant other. And so feel free to share this video with them. Guys, if you want to take the actual course, it's free. I needed to record this content for the training, and so that's why I'm doing this Facebook Live. And so if you miss any part of this, it will go into the group. It'll go on the online training portal for this. But the quickest way to find the course, if you want to take the full course, because there's about 10 instructors, not just me. There's other there's 9 other instructors that have really poured into resources into this course. And so you go to blacktechweek.com, right at the top, you just click on the link. I think the link actually looks like this guy. I think is that picture. I don't remember. I got to go back to the site. But and you can just register. Again, the whole course is free. There's about 10 different modules in there that goes through launching a side hustle. There's an awesome workbook in there, a few workbooks. There's an awesome ebook that actually gives you the written description of all of this stuff and the resources that I talked about. And for us, it was just like, again, when you look at the sheer amount of people that have lost their jobs and the sheer amount of businesses that are not connected, or cannot apply or qualify for the government assistance programs for small businesses, we just said we wanted to take a little bit of a different approach and actually teach our people and our communities and everyone like how to be self-sufficient, how to launch something in this crazy economy, but also know that they were, in the last economic downturn, the Ubers, the Airbnbs, they were either just launching or launch after like that. And look at them now, right? Not all of them are the greatest example, but a lot of them are. We use them every single day, and they've become massive companies. And so for some of you, this is your time, right? This kind of weird break that you've had, this a little bit of a moment of stillness that we've had as well, to give you the mental clarity to say, hey, maybe I've been sitting on an idea for a long time, and I'm going to launch it as a small side hustle to actually test it. And then I'm going to fully invest my time and effort, maybe raise some money for that idea. Or maybe I'm going to test out a few ideas and see which one is really within my zone of genius. And then I'm going to catapult from what I'm doing from there. And so that is it, guys. If you guys have any more questions, yes, Jay Charles, this has been 2 hours. I'm getting ready to get off of this thing, but it'll be live. The replay will be here on the group, and then definitely go and sign up for the course. It's well worth your time, and it's self-paced, so you can take it at any time that you can. We ran a live version of it already, and so anytime you log in, you can just take it. You have all the modules there. There aren't any more live sessions that are a part of it, but all live sessions were recorded, and they are fantastic. And so you can get that information and get the training, share it with whoever you want. We had, I think, 400 plus people that have registered for it since. And so it's what we just are trying to put out to the world constantly. And that's it, y'all. Enjoy your Saturday. I'm getting off this. I need something stronger than this water to drink because I've been talking for 2 hours, maybe even I feel like 3. But anyways, bye guys. Have a good one.